Go Pizza presents STP.
Check this.
The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Why did you do
I didn't like that.
I had to get that out. Sorry.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah. Try it.
That's all I needed.
You need to scream sometimes. It's good.
How's that?
It's good. Jesse's not going to scream. I'm not even going to ask.
I don't even know what Jesse yelling in anger would be.
Well, I've heard it a few times on this show, I think. In frustration with the both of us.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, can I tell a funny story before we get into this?
Oh, absolutely not. I hope it's a somber show.
No, it's okay. So Jesse, I don't know if you know this or not, but
What is going on?
Steve and I ran into Faisal Kamisa before the show on Tuesday, and
Yes, I
Faisal's
know
got
this
his
story.
toy drive going on right now, which is
And
still
a
happening.
bald head.
Right up till the end of the week. He's shaved his head for Sick Kids Hospital. If you can just follow Faisal on Twitter, you probably do, and help donate to his toy drive because it's amazing. It's getting toys for kids who are sick in hospital here in Toronto, and Sick Kids Hospital is like a world-renowned research facility as well.
They helped my family. Yes, once upon a time.
Absolutely. I think most of us who live here have been there. We've had the pleasure of being
at some
there.
point.
In terms of, it's never great to be there for treatment, but if there's a place to get treated, that's the place.
Right.
I also used to work there.
You did?
I did. I was a clerk there. I used to book people for their x-rays. That was one of
when did you do
my many
that?
jobs. University.
I did not know that.
My 1 year.
Wow.
So we run into Faisal, and we're like, hey, Faisal, you should come on the show. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to do that. And Steve's like, what about next week? And I'm like, yeah, what about next week? He's like, yeah, sounds good to me. All right, okay, well, we'll text you. All right, sounds good.
And we're like, perfect.
Later that day, Steve says, okay, guys, so next week I'm going to be in Halifax, so we won't be doing a show. And I said, so we booked Faisal Kamisa. Why?
And I went, ooh.
So we'll have Faisal on at some point this summer. But Faisal was dangled, I think.
Oh,
He's
is that
dangled.
what?
Yeah.
When someone does something dumb to you, it's
You've been dangled.
you've been dangled.
You've been danged.
So yeah, no show next week for anybody who didn't know.
And we didn't know until
We didn't know.
after.
Till yesterday, yeah, 2 days ago.
Do you want to also hear a funny story, Jesse? Another funny story?
No best of or anything?
Oh, no, we're doing
No,
that.
That's for August.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're not doing a show at all?
Next week, no.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Next week will just be like a 5-second file of just going, fuck you guys. Goodbye.
Funny story. I was going to have my bachelor party on, I believe it was July the 15th. And Steve,
this year?
Of this year. I was going to have it.
That's like next week.
I know. So in April, Steve was like, hey, man, I am so excited. I'm going to Halifax. I said, what week is that? And he's like, I think it's the 6th through the 15th.
Wow.
And I did tell him last October that
Did
that's
you?
when the bachelor party was going to be.
Okay.
So... So we've rescheduled the bachelor party. We'll do it sometime in the fall.
You got dangled.
Obviously, Jesse, you would have known because you were at my wedding party, so
Sure.
you would have absolutely known, but we abandoned that a while ago.
I'm also in the wedding party. I did not know.
Steve, when I told Steve, I was like, put it in your phone.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, don't worry.
Let me check and see if it's there.
I hope it is.
Let me see. If it is, I'm going to be very sad. We're going to get to Connor McDavid.
Yeah, whatever. You've heard like a billion takes on Connor McDavid. You can wait for this.
There is absolutely nothing in my phone for July.
Okay, well, let's talk about Connor McDavid and his $100 million contract.
Yes.
$12.5 million.
This was a great lesson in PR, ladies and gentlemen. I think it was a great lesson in controlling the message. Elliot Friedman posted last week that the price was going to be $13.25 million, and supposedly the number changed. My theory is the number never changed, and that number was floated out there. I don't know how, but I think there was a little bit of deliberate misinformation there.
To make it look like he left money on the table.
Yeah. If he signs for 13.25, a lot of the conversation today, well, more of the conversation today would be, is that too much, even for McDavid? But instead, it's a bargain.
Yeah, because
He left money on the table.
$750,000 when you're making 13. Whoop-de-doo, man.
Yeah.
Really?
Someone tweeted me this morning. They're like, wow, like really big of Connor McDavid to leave and like a league minimum player on the table.
Somebody, a bad ELC player will make that money up.
Not including their bonuses.
Yes, yeah. A rookie that shouldn't even be there.
Not even a second rounder ELC.
Jesse,
Yes.
can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you go to Google,
Uh-huh.
pull up the American to Canadian dollar conversion?
Uh-huh.
I would like to know currently, because I think the dollar's hovering in and around 78 cents on the American.
I think so.
Connor McDavid's getting paid in American dollars. So I would like to know what $12.5 million right now looks like.
Take a guess.
I'm going to say 16 million? 16 million
say-
Canadian dollars?
15.5.
16.18.
Whoa!
There you go.
That was totally by
Check out
accident.
the big brain on Adam.
The U.S. dollar is 77 cents to... Well, the Canadian dollar is 77 cents to a U.S. dollar.
That's all right. That's all right. You can make that work in Edmonton.
Well, and he lives in Canada, right? It's not like, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about like an American player who plays in Canada, and he gets taxed through the nose and all that crap, and he loses a big chunk of his contract, and then he goes to the States. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter because it's all American dollars. Never mind, it's only Canada. We get the good part of it, and they get the standard part of it.
I'd love to speak to your accountant one day.
It was great listening to you talk yourself out of that logic.
Remember how
they get paid in American and they're American.
Shitty start.
Remember
drink
when
this.
we said last episode how pooped we are? I think this is just. I mean, this is pretty regular, but I think this is
I
also
thought
pooped.
I was fine.
Yeah.
I'm pooped.
I'm good.
I'm still pooped.
I think that's...
No, I'm stupid.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm personally exhausted.
Stop trying to diagnose my stupidity as anything other than that. Stupidity, Adam.
So this episode is meant to last you through the next week.
Yes.
That's why we're doing a double.
Yes.
Otherwise, in the summertime, we wouldn't.
The initial plan was to not do a second show this week.
Yeah, so we decided, what the heck, we'll do two, and then that way you've got one for this week, one for next. And part of the special of today's show, and we'll get back to McDavid in just a second, is that we're going to do a obscenely long press conference. So we're going to get this. We're getting this out of the way, and we're just getting to the. So
We're
Connor
gonna talk
McDavid,
about like 4 things.
Connor McDavid, $12.5 million. Seems pretty reasonable.
He's absolutely worth it.
To everybody that says, Steve,
Yes.
how can they build a team around Connor McDavid at 12.5 and Leon Draisaitl in the $9 million range?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Well, Draisaitl in the $9 million range is another story, but around Connor McDavid, how do you build a team around him? Oh, that's easy. You take 2 offensively gifted players with some general skating ability, pay them $2 million each, and put them on his wings. And when they ask for too much money, you get rid of them, and then you bring in another one, and you do that for the next 9 years. Seriously, you don't need to overspend. The beauty of overspending on a player like that is you don't need to overspend anywhere else.
Do you think, and we've talked about this a little bit, but I think it's been talked about more on Twitter. The salary model is a little bit broken in the NHL in the sense that guys that are not worth $5 million are making it. Guys that are worth $12 million are not making it. And it's because the guys who are worth $12 million aren't asking for it because there's this quote unquote, oh, well, we want to surround you with other guys sort of symptom out there.
I mean, it is true. There is some truth
but
to it.
if you are an exceptional player, like there is good,
Yes.
like there's competent bum, good, great, and then there's exceptional. There's exceptional.
There's a reason that Connor McDavid became he became the highest paid player in the National Hockey League by $2 million yesterday, and no one batted an eye. No one batted an eye. He's making $2 million more than Patrick Kane. Won the MVP 2 years ago. No one cares.
And he only has one 30-goal
Or is
season.
it 1 year ago? See, we're in July now, and it's really... Sorry. Is it last season?
We're in the off season. I do know that.
2 years ago. I still have someone tweeted me. It's like me listening to the season conversation, and it was Terry Cruz's brain leaving his body, and then him looking at it and yelling. He deserves every penny, and I made fun of it yesterday. And Oilers fans, it's weird. They usually handle things with such good humor, but
what did you say? What did you write?
Well, here.
What did you tweet?
Let me go back. Let me go back and look at exactly what I said, and we'll see how this could be misinterpreted. Okay? How about that? I'll give people the benefit of the doubt. The joke was basically that he was making a Scrooge McDuck amount of money.
Which he is.
It wasn't that he was making too much.
Are people?
Okay, so I tweeted, McDavid, guys, I've thought about it, and I only want $100 million. The Oilers, bless you, Connor. Bless you. And then I said, he totally deserves way more than that, but it's still kind of funny. Guys, I want us to be good, so $12.5 million per should be okay. And then there was one that in particular was received very poorly, and I'm trying to find it. Oh, okay, so Brock Sagan tweets, every July 1st, McDavid is going to get a check for roughly $10.75 million.
That's right, because his deal is all bonus laden.
It's all bonus. Yeah, sorry, that came from Spectre. $86 million of the $100 million McDavid's getting paid is signing bonuses. So I said, LMAO, McDavid's annual bonus is more than Kane and Taves' annual cap hit. So the joke there, for those of you paying attention, is McDavid's annual signing bonus is larger than the annual cap hit of the players who this past season had the highest cap hit in the National Hockey League. Ah! That's incredible, but some people misinterpreted that as, someone from Ontario spoke. I should shit on them.
Steve.
Hey, but you know it's not all of us, right? Yes!
Steve, how did you think they were going to handle it?
I don't know. There's so often I mention the Oilers, and I'm like, what did I do that for?
Did you see the Vice article this week of the 10 most sensitive provinces?
No,
I didn't. The most sensitive provinces out of 10.
And it's ranked.
Yeah, so number 10 was Ontario because we know everyone hates us and we've just sort of accepted it. And it's like, okay, make a joke at Ontario's expense. Fine, we're good with it.
I want to know who wrote that.
Well, Vice Canada wrote it.
No, I want to know what province they're from.
But at the top of the list was Alberta. And it was so funny because...
Okay, first of all, it's 100% Alberta.
It is.
Second of all, Ontario shouldn't be 10. They should be higher.
I don't find Ontarians very sensitive.
I don't think so either, but...
I really don't. I mean, maybe
one of
there
the
are.
least? I don't think so.
Anyway, what made me laugh the hardest was the first comment said something along the lines of... This must be written in the East. You like basically you liberal fucks, blah 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 blah. And it was like, I'm like, oh my god. And I look it up, and it's like Fort Wayne.
And what part of Alberta were they from, Adam?
I think it was a Fort Wayne or Wainwright. I don't even know what the heck it is. Anyway, Fort Wayne.
Oh yeah, I said.
Big difference.
I said, where is it? Goddamn, I'm trying to find it. No, okay. I shouldn't Mike Francesa this, but it was basically...
It's Wayne, Alberta. Wayne, not Fort Wayne. There's a Fort Wayne in the state.
Oh, he doesn't even know the difference between Wayne and
somebody
Fort Wayne.
was going to tweet me a Google image. I know it. Anyway.
I basically said, I could write an article called McDavid is God and Alberta is the best. And I just want to see how people find a way to shit on it.
Calgary would hate you. Calgary would absolutely hate you.
Oh, yeah. Well, in Calgary, I got a bunch of tweets right away like, well, we'll hate it right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's kind of fun because it'll force Flames fans and Oilers fans to agree with each other. Or disagree. And then someone said, yeah, all you got to do is not mention Alberta in it. Basically, shout out to Justin Trudeau.
That's a great idea.
It's a great tweet.
You should do that. It's a great tweet, but you should actually write an article about the
McDavid
greatest,
is God
and the province in which he hails.
The province, and no, not the province, the place between British Columbia and the other one. I won't even call it Saskatchewan.
No, call it Saskatchewan.
Yeah, you're right.
Because then I think you should write an article that just says that. Like you should just write an article that does not mention Alberta in the slightest.
Yeah.
But just mentions like physical features and potential, cities, but do not mention anything Alberta.
Here, how about my follow-up article, the central blocky provinces in Canada ranked. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, the other one.
and BC. BC's blocky.
Yeah,
it's
but
not
it's central.
Nah, you're right.
Neither's Alberta, but we get it. Anyway, McDavid's very good. So was Alberta. Sure.
Now, not coming in a little bit less, and a little bit less in term, not 12.50, but 2.25 million. And you see the segue there, right? There's a lot of twos and fives.
Very good one. Someone who could have been McDavid's line mate had he not chose to be so silly. Could have been. What could have been? Why are you laughing?
Oh my God.
What?
Well,
you imagine they take him off Matthews' wing and they put him on McDavid's?
He might get 9 or 10 goals.
Hey. The hill, okay,
But 5
I've
of them are
decided I have a
shorthanded.
hill I'll die on, and it's that Zach Hyman is good.
Zach Hyman is good. I'm just joking.
No, I know you are, but like so many people yesterday were like...
I read a tweet from a guy named Tom, who I follow, and Tom said, listen, you guys all think that this is a great contract until it costs us Connor Brown. And I thought, Tom, that's not the case. That is not the case.
Is that the case?
Tom doesn't like the contract. There's a lot of people that don't like the contract, and I have to say, I think it's about $500,000 more per year than I would have wanted to pay him.
Well, okay, so my first thought was that's too much. And
I thought so too.
The reason I thought it was too much, yeah, but the reason why is the number in my head was 1.7 million. Why would a guy who played with Matthews all of last year, who did everything you told him to do, only get 1.7 million? The number in my head was unreasonable. I'm cheap. Fans are naturally cheap. It's how we are. We choose several players to break the bank for, McDavid, and for everyone else we're cheap. In what world did you think Zach Hyman was going to get less than $2 million for what he did? Well, what did he do? Okay, sure. What did he do besides everything the coaching staff through all levels of the organization told him to do?
See, now I understand that. He did do everything.
He did everything he was told to do.
But if doing everything you're told to do makes you extremely wealthy, then I should be insanely rich because I do everything my bosses ask. And here I am.
Well, I think
here I am with a mortgage.
We just figured out why I live in Oshawa. $9 million.
But like I see Tom's point in the sense that like, and there's a lot of people that echo him. That's why I'm using Tom. Sorry about this. I'm using him as an example. It's one of those things. First off, I think Maple Leafs fans are terrified of any contract that's more than 2 years. And even with Ron Hainsey, they're like, Jesus God, we're gonna die. And again, term is what kills you on contracts. It's not even the money spent that year. It's always term. If like Joffrey Lupul's contract would be scary if it was 2 more years, but it's 1 more year. Okay, so we eat it. Fine. Right?
Well, and it's inconsequential for the most part.
It's inconsequential. It's LTIR. However, we'll be on the bonus overages again next year. So what?
Etc.
But I think what we have to look at here is that it is only $2.5 million. It's
less.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. It's cost controlled. And I think the other thing that is important is that this is a guy that you're not necessarily paying for what he did last season. You're paying him because you believe that he'll get a little bit better. And I understand that Zach Hyman's what, 23, 24?
I think he's 23 or 24. But for some reason, I think in the eyes of a lot of people, every rookie who was on the Leafs last year is going to get better, except for Zach Hyman, though. Like, they've chosen him as, like, no, that's the one. And that's the one who's not.
I think we ought not to ignore the fact that Zach Hyman was a great penalty killer.
I think he was a fine penalty killer, rookie record for shorthanded goals, even though it was only like three? Whatever. Did absolutely everything he was asked to do. The Leafs organization, top to bottom, loves him. I think there's a reason he was on Matthews. He was glued to He's been glued to Matthews and Nylander his entire Leafs career, basically. Leafs and Marlies career. Maybe except for like the first half of his season with the Marlies, but I don't really remember. They're rewarding a player who's done everything they told him to do. And why should he... Look, I think that is an ideal third or fourth liner. Don't punish Zach Hyman for the contract the Leafs gave to Matt Martin. You know?
Right.
Which, by the way, is more.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to dispute it at this point. I don't think the Matt Martin contract's good. But they obviously think what he brings to the team is good, so that's, another story.
Yeah.
Zach Hyman.
Don't panic
Zach Hyman's
because
contract.
Eric Fair is making $2 million next year.
Yeah, Zach Hyman's contract is not going to hold you back from getting the players that they need. The players that they need are basically here. They're about a right shot defenseman away from going, okay, let's stop acquiring pieces now. I really believe that.
Yeah,
and when you look at, everybody seems to think that Patrick Marleau is a lock to be on Matthews' wing next year with Nylander. And I got to tell you, I don't think there's enough puck to go around. Is this line going to go out and get 600 shots?
Yeah, I mean, their power play is going to be stacked. But yeah, 5-on-5, I'm a little confused.
So,
I don't think Marleau with Matthews is a lock.
I'm not saying it won't happen, but if you are going to do that, who gets to shoot the puck? You have 40 goal scorer and 20 goal scorer, and Patrick Marleau, who's a 20 goal scorer most seasons.
I think the Leafs probably try to shore up their biggest strength last year, which was all their lines could score, except for the fourth one.
Yeah.
I'm not
so
saying
Patrick Marleau to the fourth line. I get it. Okay.
But like the Leafs have 13 players under contract, not this upcoming season, but the following one, and 8 the season after that. I feel like that's probably high.
Seems
high.
The amount of contracts we have right now are 49.
Yeah, so that needs to be fixed. I think something has to give before the end of the summer, and it's not going to be a significant part of the roster. Lou has already said he expects both Hyman, who was obviously re-signed, and Connor Brown are going to be at camp in October. We're talking Eric Fair and or Nikita Soshnikov and or Josh Levo and or Alexei Marchenko and or... I mean, Ben Smith is a little bit useless right now.
I don't know why they re-signed him.
So that they could protect Matt Martin. And that was literally it.
So they paid $500,000 to protect Matt Martin?
Well, and they sort of needed a center depth, and why not go with a familiar guy? But like now they don't. I don't even think they need him.
The way Vegas picked, now in retrospect, they probably would have picked Matt Martin.
That might have been what they were thinking.
They honestly would have picked, because now the way I look at them now, I'm like, if I was George McPhee, there wouldn't have been a chance in hell. But the way they picked, I'm like,
McPhee.
I'm not George McPhee.
Man, that guy drafted Lucas Biza and Alexei Emelin and Mark Mathot and.
And I don't want to diminish what Matt Martin brings to the team. It's too much for what he brings, period. End of story.
Yes.
On the ice.
Yeah.
Zach Hyman is a good soldier. And again, you can make the argument that he gets in the corners, he digs, his possession is good.
Had a ridiculously low shooting percentage. Now you can,
So, is that the case? I didn't know that.
He did. But either that's because he's a bum or because he just was a little bit snake bitten. I was talking to someone about this, and I can't remember if we mentioned this on the last show. Oh, I think we did. We got fans to send in questions about how you tape your stick. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Zach Hyman doesn't tape the toe of his stick. And the person I was talking to was like, well, that wouldn't affect his shot so much as it would stick handling. I'm like, well, that's a little bit important, isn't it? Don't you think? Mm-hmm. A little bit if it's rolling on him. So I don't know, maybe he needs to tape his stick differently. Maybe he just needs to take the exact same shots that he did this past season, and some more of them will go in.
There was like open nets that he missed. They were just, I think he was snake bitten.
I was at a game against Anaheim. He had like 2 or 3 breakaways.
He I think will be a 20-goal scorer at least once. I think so.
At least once. I think so. I think he got 10 goals last season. I think 10 to 15 isn't out of the question.
Mm-hmm.
I think over his career, he will get somewhere between 8 and 15 goals each season, depending on the role he's playing.
Now, if Zach Hyman's making that, what does Connor Brown make?
That's a great question.
That looks more like a $3 million contract.
I have a hard time believing he's going to get more than 3. I think 2.9 would be right around where he lands.
Just 2.9. Sorry, Connor. You can't have that last 100 grand.
I think you're starting to see more of these contracts that are like 0.9 something.
If
because
McDavid...
They want to go the Walmart route and go, look, I'm not a $5 million player, but it's about perception.
I'm a 2.9.
Yeah, I'm not a $3 million player. Look at me, Price is Right.
Hopefully they put out a thing that says, oh, Connor Brown's looking for $3 million, and then he signs for 2.95. Connor Brown left $500,000 on the table. What a hero.
I know.
He loves the Leafs.
That should be his goal song. We can be heroes.
Well, that's 50,000 I just said there. No, 2.5. No,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
50,000. Imagine that could be spent on pucks and such.
You could buy a lot of Honda CRVs with that, right?
Yeah.
One every year. So that's cool. I don't know, man. I think it'll be good to get Connor Brown back in the lineup. But here's the thing. Then they're at 50 contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So there has to be a move. There has to be.
I think so.
Now, is it going to be like Carter Verhaeghe and every other player that the Leafs are never going to have on the Marlies for Michael Grabner? The 5 contracts for one thing?
Oh, something like that. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, but the problem is they're already over the cap. Like, right at the moment, they're over the cap. That's a problem. So I still think... Well, look around the league. There's a bunch of teams who are like under 35 contracts still. Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Is there...
And they need players. They need some young players.
Is like, okay, if Joffrey Lupul gets traded and plays for another team, like imagine he played. You don't think so? Is it a bad
Can't
injury?
imagine.
Is the injury bad? Like, do we know?
No. Is the injury an injury? I think that looks badly on the Leafs if he goes somewhere and plays.
Yeah. Yeah,
The question is, does Lou give a shit?
No.
No, I
He
don't
doesn't
think
care.
He does.
He doesn't care.
I don't think the NHL does either.
So Connor Brown, you say 2.9 million?
I'm going to say 2.9.
I'm going to say 2.85.
Whoa!
Just because.
Man, I'm less than a $2.9 million player.
Imagine I'm $2.825 million. Just take it to the next decimal point where possible. So then the Leafs are at 50 contracts. What in your estimation happens?
They just got to get rid of spare parts.
How do you do that?
Anyway, they
Do you buy out Marchenko? Or wait, is that window dead? That window's gone. Can't do that.
Yeah, there's something about no players filed for arbitration, and Mike Augello said if a player does file for arbitration, it gives you an opportunity to buy out a player, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that either. That's crazy.
I don't know. There's so many little things, eh? The minutia, if you will. I'm sure someone would want Sash or Marchenko, or there's some kind of deal you could finagle for fair. I don't know what it would be. Marcus Kruger just got traded for future considerations. What is this, 1998?
Well, that was
traded for future considerations.
That was to complete the Chicago trade.
No, I know, but I'm still future considerations.
So, what are the chances it's fair for a player to be named Lair, and that player to be named?
Eric Fair.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wouldn't be shocked. Surely, I doubt the Leafs are just like, screw it, we're gonna go out and oh damn, we're at 55 contracts. How did that happen?
No, they know.
I highly doubt they're that oblivious. I assume they have a plan, and they have tons of fat and players they don't need. So, I mean, I assume they get rid of those players. That's the logical thing to me.
Okay. A lot of the time, though, that means that they either have to bury, which some of them they can. Or
I expect at least one player to get buried. Yeah.
What do you do with what do you do with a Marchenko's salary, which is 1.45?
I think you can trade him somewhere. He's young enough. He's okay. I think his biggest problem with the Leafs last year was he was coming in really late, and he had like a couple bad games, and that's all it takes for Babcock to be like, I'm done with you.
Right. Okay.
So there's a simple solution here.
Alex Galchenyuk now makes more than Nikita Kucherov.
Oh my God! That's such a good deal. For Kucherov, I'm saying.
Kucherov's going to get paid in 2 years, though.
Absolutely.
He's got 2 more years left on this deal.
That's the Subban deal. I told you my number. And here it is. 9 or whatever it is for Kucherov. But Galch for under 5, I think, is a huge victory. I thought that number was going to start with a 6. Or, at least his ask. What was it, 4 years?
I think it's, 3 years, 4.9?
Something along those lines. 4.9. That's a huge victory.
The Galch deal is 4.9.
4.9. Now, it's funny. I was talking to Habs fans about this. We still have no idea what the Montreal Canadiens are going to look like next season. But if you try really hard to make Drouin at center work and Galchenyuk at center work, both of them, there's your 1-2 center. It's a hell of a punch. And then your bottom 2 centers. I guess you got to put Plekanec in there, and then you make it one of like Deneau or McCarron. That's not bad.
You're not bad.
You're okay. Even if you maybe put Galch on the wing of Drouin or vice versa, still find a way to get those other guys in there. It's not the best situation, but it's at least an NHL level situation,
right,
which it was looking like they might not even have for a while. Losing Radulov hurts, though.
Sure does. Well, and again, the argument I keep getting whenever I tweet about this is the fact that, Drouin's going to make up for Radulov. No, the point was to have them both.
Yeah.
The point of bringing in Drouin, they already had trouble scoring.
And you got to replace Markov, which I don't think anyone who they got this offseason does.
No. And
I saw someone say, Alzner for Markov is a wash. No, it is very not.
And Drouin for Radulov being a wash is not good enough. You couldn't score. Radulov was the only one that scored in the playoffs.
That's an interesting point. The status quo is not good enough, which I think is what a lot of Montreal Canadiens fans have been screaming for
I think that's what Bergevin thinks.
You also forgot they have Peter Holland.
No.
Pistol.
All-star.
Awesome.
Pistol Pete, who can play the wing.
And center.
Yeah.
We'll have to play center. We'll have to play
Possibly.
center.
Possibly. Broke Ben Bishop's teeth.
Wow.
He did. Remember that?
Don't remember that.
Hit him in the face with a shot. Broke out his two front teeth. Leafs lost that game like 7-4.
We sure showed them.
Weren't you at that game?
Oh, that was the game?
Yeah, I think so.
See, well, again, when you're at the game, you don't see that someone's teeth get broken, right?
Oh, right.
Because you're like, yeah, the Leafs got destroyed that game. That was probably Hunwick and Polak's worst game of the season.
Hunwick for sure.
That was bad.
Yeah.
I remember calling Steve and having like a 15-minute conversation on the way home going, holy shit!
It was just like, Matt Hunwick's a piece of garbage.
Turned it on at the end of the season. He was really good.
Yep.
So Galch, I mean, that seems like a pretty solid deal for them.
It is. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that team is doing. Also, no move clause or no trade clause at all. So he still might get moved.
Yeah. Hey, are the Colorado Avalanche really not going to trade? And I think I might have said this last episode. Are they really not going to trade Matt Duchene?
Maybe.
What if they're better this year?
They could.
They're definitely going to be better.
I mean, they
how
should
could
be.
they
What
not
if
be?
What if they're good?
I don't think they'll be good. They'll be better.
What if they get unbelievable goaltending?
Then they might be good.
Then they might. I hope they finish third in the NHL again. Just so everyone's like, you all talk crap.
You nerds! Hey, nerds!
Oh, and then the following season they stink again. I will live for it.
I lived for that season. I remember that was like really when the advanced stats versus the traditional debate was going on. That was when it was raging. And everybody looked at Semyon Varlamov. It was basically the Semyon Varlamov show.
Yeah.
And I remember that. Oh well, I mean, if they're an outlier, that means your model's broken. If the Avalanche are an outlier to your model, then that means your model's broken. And of course, they come back to earth. Silence the next season. Silence on that front.
And then crunch.
Coach of the year, Patrick Waugh.
That's right. Did Patrick Waugh win the Jackass?
Well, and he wasn't.
year,
he wasn't the coach of them last season. I see a trend. Sorry.
You know what I also find interesting? All the head coaching spots available. Patrick Waugh not rumored in one of them.
Well, that's a very strange man.
He's too good for the NHL.
Very strange man.
He's on to the next league.
Nobody wants to win.
He's on to the league above the NHL.
Yeah.
Well, so many people are like, yeah, well, it's because he's the next coach in Quebec. It's like, what? They don't have a team. They're several years away from even being in the conversation for a team. What are you talking about?
He's the next coach for Seattle.
Actually,
Kansas.
you never know because like the Jets kind of came out of nowhere. I just remember one day it's like, hey, the Jets are coming back. I'm like, what?
Yeah. It was like
The Winnipeg Jets?
I think it was just so bad. And like, how bad does a city have to be? Like, your city has to be worse off than Arizona has been the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And Atlanta got that bad that quickly. Like, it went from they're okay to cliff.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know anything about that situation, and I really
we've talked
should.
about that before. Like, what is it about Arizona that made the NHL be like, this is worth investing in?
Didn't you
this
say
is
it was
worth
the TV
fighting
deal?
for?
They had to be in Arizona for a TV deal?
Well, that's part of my assumption. But, like, wouldn't you also need it in Atlanta?
I know the Atlanta owners just handed over the keys and were like, we're done with this. We're losing too much money. And then everything kind of sped up and they went over to Winnipeg.
Right.
And
I
also,
don't-
Winnipeg should probably have a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but quite honestly, I don't think Winnipeg, the franchise, without the equalization payments, would be making any money.
Is it?
And that's why it's good that they have them.
Like 20 years from now, are we going to be doing Atlanta 3.0?
Probably, yeah.
try it
Somebody
again?
will come in again and try to do it again. And I bet, the third time, I bet it works. But you also remember that the downturn and a lot of what happened in Atlanta. Atlanta was hit really hard by the recession. And I think after that franchise never really recovered. And, the Danny Heatley crash with Dan Snyder, they lost a really good player there. And,
Absolutely.
And there was,
It's also worth mentioning they were just managed poorly.
Absolutely. They had some great players in that organization. They really did.
Yep.
They were never able to get great goaltending. Chris Chelios wasn't the stalwart defenseman that they needed him to be. 48-year-old Chris Chelios.
Oh, man, I forgot about
Does
that.
anybody listening to the show have a Chris Chelios Thrashers jersey?
At least one.
At least one.
Yeah.
What's the over-under? I think 3.
How many people listening to the show are from Georgia? The country and state.
And state. Georgia, home of Joseph Stalin.
Actually?
Yeah, that's where he's from.
Didn't know that.
There you go.
Cool.
So it's you, Stalin, and the
Of
Thrashers.
course you would know that,
Of
Adam.
course, yeah.
Jesus. Andre and I, when we did KHL highlights, for some reason, we were like, we should set a timer because every day we hung out together, at some point World War II would come up. I don't know. When you just hang out with a Russian person, somehow World War II comes
You
up.
should explain to the audience who Andre is. Not everyone's your friend and it just knows Andre.
Andre is my Russian friend who we did KHL highlights with. Or
During
I
the
did
lockout.
KHL highlights with. Yes, during the
Who,
lockout.
I guess we know what Steve will be doing next lockout. He'll be
Hey.
working for the KHL again and waiting an entire year before they actually pay him.
Yo, Dr. Dre in the building. KHL highlights. Magnitogorsk gets lit. Let's go. Yeah.
You know what? That's
I hope. I like him, but I hope to not do that anymore.
we talked a little bit about last time about what we will do when the lockout inevitably happens. And I have to say, I think it's KHL, man.
I also, like, so many people are like, oh, they talk too much about cartoons. Guess what? We
Who?
just have something to fall back on.
We do?
Yeah.
We talk too much about cartoons?
Yeah, and Pokemon and things of that nature.
Oh, man.
Crab Rangoon.
Things of that nature.
Guess-
It's
guess what?
preposterous how much you talk about cartoons.
The CBA. Things of that nature. But we're just making ourselves well-rounded for the inevitable
Yeah,
lockout.
exactly. Well, we'll still be doing a show. It's just going to be pick your Russian team,
Again,
which I already have. I have my Tarasenko jersey from Moscow.
Damn. SKA. Adam's got the pick of the litter. Any Dynamo Moscow jersey's rough. You read about that story?
No.
Like any one-way contracts on the team is just not honoring?
Yeah, they're just not paying them. That sucks. That really sucks. That's
You're not on our team anymore. But you have to pay us. No. Yet.
No.
yeah.
What are you
And
gonna do?
weirdly, I don't want to work in that situation anymore.
I think
Pay us. We will.
one day my goal is to get Joffrey Lupul on this show. The first reason is because I want to know what's going on. The second is I want to know about his time in Russia, where he lasted a grand total of 9 games. And I want to know why,
Because it was in Yekaterinburg, is my guess.
which is
Far east. It's the Eastern Conference.
he should fire his agent. Why would he have to sign there? He's an NHL
No,
player.
I think he chose really late.
Oh.
He chose really late. He wasn't the only one who had to sign in. Like a lot of the Westerners signed in the Western Conference, and most of them didn't end up even playing in Russia. Like they played for like Dynamo Minsk in Belarus, or there was a what was it? Praha? It was Prague's team,
Which is now gone?
Which is now gone. Bratislava, all these places that weren't Russia. Basically, there's a reason why I think a guy like Brandon Kozin went to Finland.
Does Zagreb still have a team?
I think they do.
Okay.
And that's Croatia. But very few
I'd love to be in
wanted to sign
Croatia.
in Russia, west of St. Petersburg or Moscow, unless they could play with their buddy Malkin in Magnitogorsk. That's about as far east as they would go. Yeah. Yeah, where all the games were basically shot on a BlackBerry Bold. Highlights for Eastern Conference games were not fun.
All right. Well, shall we enter the obscenely long press conference?
Let's do it.
Do you want a time limit on the questions? I brought over the bell from the studio. If you guys want.
Oh, that's the bell I
Oh.
bought on Amazon. I don't think so.
No.
You can
'Cause
get
I
bells
feel
from
like-
like the dollar store.
I bought it on Amazon.
At Amazon? All right.
Okay. Let's try and get through these 435 questions.
All right. Question every 30
Did you
seconds.
prioritize them?
Nope. I'm just reading them with you.
Oh, Jesus Lord. Okay.
Is Shoshnikov a Leaf at the start of the season? This from @MNM_Leafs.
No. There's no room for him. There's other guys in the team who can do what he does. I think he's a fun player. He's exciting. He's going to be those things for another team.
You know where I think he ends up? And this is nothing based in truth. He seems like a Calgary Flame player. Seems like the kind of guy that Treliving and Burke might really like. He's cheap. They're up against it with the cap, because they've got some really great depth on defense, and I think he'd be a great winger for them. And they can pick him up for basically nothing.
Here's another question: is Soshnikov in the NHL in 2 years? Because you got that option, right? Okay, I'm either an NHL player or I can play in Peoria. Could take the bus to Peoria, or I can go back to Russia, which I call home,
And make $3 million there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not. But I think he's a Calgary Flame.
That should be a feature of NHL games. Oh, your player up and left for Russia, and then you no longer have him in your franchise.
That's actually, yeah, that should be an option.
Yeah.
If you piss the player off enough, they'll just leave.
because now they have moods, so like you can players will request for trades in like your game. So
if you don't
he left for Russia,
grant their request, what happens?
he plays awfully and his skills go way down.
Wow.
That is maybe
Well, I'd bury him.
players
You can,
in
but then
NHL.
you have the contract still on your salary. cap.
True.
Players in the
There's-
video game should be bigger divas. They should be harder to deal with.
I remember-
I feel like that's an
They're pretty
underrated
hard.
aspect.
Like if you start playing Malkin on the fourth line or whatever, the game will notice and he'll get upset and he won't play.
Well, why would you ever play him on the fourth line?
I'm just saying.
Jesse's
Okay.
done it.
Diva.
Jesse's done it.
I
It's
don't
like the nerd version of when someone holds a magnifying glass in the sun over an anthill. Like that's Jesse.
Jesse was that sadistic kid?
Did you guys never play The Sims and just drop your Sims in pools and then take off the ladder and make them drown to death?
Yes, and then they come back and haunt the other Sims. I used to. What you could do too is you could freeze the game and build a wall around them,
and then they starve.
and then they start.
or you
What's the matter with you
or
guys?
you do the same thing, so you put a bunch of campfires everywhere and then they burn to death.
And the way they burn is hilarious.
Yeah.
I never played Sims.
Sims was great until you realize that everything you do in The Sims is all the stuff you're ignoring in real life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To play The Sims. It's like I have to really go to the bathroom, but I'm playing The Sims where my sim is going to the bathroom. Why am I playing this?
Okay, I don't want to play a game where I have to remind my character to go to the bathroom.
That's what you have to do.
No, but if
That's
you're
ridiculous.
really good at it, you prioritize items.
Yes.
So you'd be like you schedule all their things
Life?
they're gonna do. Yeah, and then you hit fast forward.
I remember I got the
So-
pet extension, so they used to have puppies, and then
Yeah.
they like have dogs.
good.
Get a
That
dog!
was Sims 2, yeah.
I had a dog,
And then Sims
Play with your dog!
but my sim dog liked me a lot more than
in
my real
Sims
dog.
3
fair.
they introduced seasons.
Oh.
So then you'd be living and then time would change the more you played. So it'd turn into fall and then
It's
winter.
actually kind
and
of a
then spring.
brilliant idea because all you got to do is make a game that is life.
Yeah.
And every game, you're like, what are some aspects of life we have left out of our game about life?
Yeah.
Oh,
And the more
winter?
realistic it gets, the more people get excited. So like now there's like a resort you can go to.
Oh,
like,
there's
like you can go to towns.
and now it's all like one world, so you can walk to places. It's not like loading screen. It's kind of like GTA more now, where you can just kind of walk around your world. And then you get a job and you can actually go to work. In
Oh, you
Sims
go to
4,
instead
yeah.
of just getting in the car and driving
and
on.
then driving off and your
Oh.
thing speeds up. You actually go to work and you do your job.
I like the new function, passive aggressive work acquaintance. Oh, that's good.
People have moods and relationships and
At
feelings, and you have to deal with those feelings.
It's ridiculous.
This is incredible. It's one of the greatest inventions ever.
Did you ever move into that ball
Life
house?
is the greatest invention ever.
That's why Sims is so great.
Did you ever move into that ballin' house at the top of the hill that was $50,000?
Yeah.
And you're like, you could only afford you could either build your house at the beginning, which would have been tiny and crappy, or you could move into that one that has like a pool.
Yeah.
And if you didn't clean the pool, it'd turn green.
Yeah, no, you hire maids.
I once got into the ballin' house because I was a doctor.
Yeah.
And then I bought the robot that cleaned everything up, so you don't have to do anything. So even when the toilet clogs, the robot fixes it. And then because I was 13 and I thought it was super cool, I would plant people in the neighborhood, and there'd be like married couples, and I'd go in and like Mr. Studio Girl, like I'd invite everybody over for a party. And so there was I was married to 5 or 6 different people in this big house. I just thought I was so cool.
See,
This
that
is
must
what
have been like
Adam-
Sims 2 or whatever. Because in the new Sims games, if you love someone, like you get the love match because you're so compatible, and then someone else you love sees you, they'll both be upset at you because they'll notice you're cheating. So you can't have
so
like 5 wives.
You used to be able to, yeah,
You
because
can't be Utah.
they still
You
used
can't
to
be
be
Utah a bunch of wives over
can't be
here.
Utah bunch of wives. They used to still get upset, but then they'd sort of get over it. But I'd have
Yeah.
6 or 7.
This started on a question about Nikita Soshnikov.
Yo,
We're on our first one.
The time limit.
ballin' house, top of the
Next
hill.
question. Everyone is talking about potential lock. This is from Farrell J16.
Jay is wild. He's a wild animal.
Everyone was
Feral.
talking about the potential lockout in 2020 and a reason the NHL and NHLPA can't start talking now.
Ego and prick waving.
Here's why.
basically.
Here's why they won't. Because you don't want to make
Sorry
a
to introduce
decision.
that term to your life.
You don't want to make a decision 3 years from now that the situation in 3 years will change, right? It'll change again and again and again, and as it has from 3 seasons ago. So you don't start negotiating now because you really can't decide at that time where your pivot points are going to be. What hills are you going to die on, right? What becomes a problem? What isn't? It's too early.
Here's a list of things that are going to become a problem. The Olympics are going to be a problem. Guaranteed contracts, I've heard, are going to be a problem. So they want to move closer to what the NFL is.
Of course, the owners do.
Yeah, of course. Players want to move a little bit closer to what NBA players have, and owners want the opposite of that. I had a good one.
I think the NBA players would be really good for the league because there'd be a lot of movement.
Certain things about LTIR and all those shenanigans.
Well, everything the Leafs are doing now will not be allowed after. I can almost guarantee that.
Bonus-laden contracts like McDavid's are going to become a problem, and Marlowe's.
You sound depressed listening off all these.
Yeah, because it's
the
going
NHL's
to happen.
They're going to take away all the fun shit, basically. All of it. All the little loopholes. Anyway,
it's weird. I was thinking about this the other day, or yesterday. Sorry.
Were you thinking about the Sims?
The
hill
amount
at
of
the
money,
top?
the
hill?
highest,
No?
the highest spending team in the NHL. I can't remember. It was either the Leafs, Rangers, or Flyers in 2004 at the end of the 03-04 season, the first season before last season before the full season lockout. The highest spending team spent, I think, $72 million.
That's not a lot.
The cap hit now in 2017, the salary cap in 2017 is 75. So it took almost 2 decades to get back to where it was. I don't know. I can't help but feel like the upcoming CBA discussion is going to be a little bit more like 2004 than 2012.
I think it's going to be a little more. I'm a little more optimistic about it.
Okay.
I don't think the
I
NHL.
hope you're right.
The NHL was in dire straits in 2004. They're not now. So I think
They just expanded.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
they're a healthy league now.
Yeah. So I think
think
they're going to be arguing. Yeah, will the sides be entrenched? Yes, but it will not be like World War III. It will be a little bit more along the lines of we want non-guaranteed contracts, and the players going no. That'll be it. It won't be like we need revenue sharing and we need a salary cap. Like
Yeah.
I wish it was that simple.
When
man.
2004 came, we're talking about a fundamental change in the way the business was run.
And the way the
salary
game is
cap,
played.
Yeah.
There were lots of teams spending over $60 million. The salary cap went to, the
42?
salary cap was 45.
45.
Or you might be right. I feel like
It was crazy.
ceiling was 45.
And we signed
Before
Brian McCabe
was
to a $5 million
37.
contract.
Oh my God. Well, okay, so the Leafs in 03 and 04 were going for it. And then the very next season, after the one that was canceled, guess what? You got to spend like 60%.
Yeah.
What? Oh, and also you can't trade these guys because they have no trade clauses.
Stupid.
Yanimal 1981 wants to know if you'd like to see a franchise tag rule in the next.
Well, I'm always curious.
The NFL has a franchise tag rule where you can place a franchise tag on a player who's a unrestricted free agent, and then they automatically get I think it's top 5% of that salary from that position. If you guys can't come to a deal, that's how it works.
So let's say you put a franchise tag on Austin Matthews.
Yes.
Okay.
The top 5% of centers and what they make in the league.
He gets that
He
for
automatically
1 year.
gets that
and
for
he
1 year.
can't like go and negotiate a new contract. He's signed for 1 year, and then after that franchise tag is expired, he can go and become a free agent.
Is that sort of like, I remember hearing Joel Quenneville had some sort of stipulation in his contract where he has to be paid X percentage of what the highest paid coach in the league is paid. So when Babcock got his contract, Quenneville was like, woo! Woo, that's awesome.
It's like Gretzky's deal. I have to be the highest paid player in the league.
Well, this is more.
That was his deal.
Oh, Jesus.
His deal with Edmonton was he had to be the highest paid player in the league. So whatever that was. And I think Ray Bourque had the same. In Boston, Ray Bourque took less money because Harry Sinden was a totally great. He was a great negotiator and a SOB, world class SOB. And players got pissed off with Ray Bourque because Ray Bourque kept taking less money, and nobody could ask for more than Ray Bourque.
Interesting.
But
Anyway.
the franchise tag's used for like guys. You don't want to lose this guy, so you just apply the tag and he can't go anywhere. But you guys
they
can't
already
come to a
have
deal.
so many things in place for that, like restricted free agency.
Yeah.
Is like really, unless you're McDavid or Matthews, here's your contract and shut up. And so many players dig in and they go to war with their team and they almost never win. Like the Drouin thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Duchesne isn't even in that situation, but he's under contract. So what's he going to do? You either sit out the year or shut up and play for the Avalanche. Those are your two options.
Those are not great options.
Next question.
At least for one of them.
Yeah, I think to answer the question, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know what that gives you. If you do stick, like, let's say the Leafs can't come to an agreement with Austin Matthews in 2 years' time, and then you stick a franchise tag on him, does that automatically make him, after that one season, an unrestricted free agent?
That's how it works in the NFL.
Oh, nuts
They're
to
automatically free after the franchise tag to go wherever.
If someone's dumb enough to do it, sure. But I doubt any general man. They're so conservative in the NHL. Like, nobody gets offer sheeted. Are you kidding me? Nobody's offer sheeted Leon Draisaitl yet. Yeah. Why? Are you nuts?
Here's the rule. When it comes to these type of arguments, someone is always dumb enough, which is why the NHL will dig in and not allow their GMs to do it. Someone is always dumb enough. Like that conversation of, well, no, this is a market correction. Connor McDavid should be making X amount of dollars, and that way the $5 million players will disappear. No, they won't.
They won't.
All of a sudden, the $3 million players will be $5 million. It's going to make it worse. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's 30 dummies
I know
out
the
there.
way it should be. That's not the way it's going to be. Someone's going to be like, you know what? Connor Brown, $6 million. And all of a sudden, you take a useful player who is great and valuable to your team, and they're just going, here's twice as much money as you deserve.
Several defensemen were signed this offseason.
Yeah, now imagine that, but worse.
Yeah.
Anyway.
James Keenan, Corsi Keenan on Twitter, says, who's better, Lil Yachty or Lil Uzi Vert?
You know what? I'm a big hip-hop fan, and every day there's new names where I'm like, I don't know who you are. And those are two guys who I've definitely seen before, but I don't know who they are. Probably even heard their songs.
I think Bow Wow was the last Lil guy who was actually Lil. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we don't need to Lil anymore. Just be Yachty. Just be Yachty. Just be him. You know what I mean? I think we need to drop the Lil.
I don't know a single Kodak Black song. I see him. I probably see a picture of Kodak Black every day.
It would be
I don't
cool.
know who he is.
It would be cool if every rapper wasn't doing trap right now. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm really
like I except for Kendrick. Kendrick can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yes, but he's not doing that shit.
No, he's not.
And so many guys sound the exact same. The exact same.
Well, it's like when Future came out, everybody sounded like Future all of a sudden afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why. Yeah, but I think Future sounds better than a lot of these guys because I'm like, well, at least he started it.
That's his. Yeah, because he sounds like Future.
Yeah, but do either of those? I don't know. Do you know who they are, Jesse?
The correct answer is Lil Uzi Vert because he has a Song of the Year, XO Tour Life.
That's
the correct answer. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
Next
Okay, there you go.
question.
Song of
Jesse.
the year, and I don't know what it is. I'm old. Shit.
Brendan Waldo, where's Wadlow 21 on Twitter, says, if you had to play in one game in all 4 of the major North American sports leagues, which one would you be best in? And which one would be the most terrifying?
Sorry, what?
Pick
a
one
sports
game out of the 4 major leagues. You get one game in one of those leagues. Which one are you picking to play in?
I am gonna play.
Probably.
I'm
the one
thinking
you get
baseball.
Least injured.
Yeah, baseball is definitely
the
least
object
likely
for
to
me
be
will be
injured.
to not die.
Where can I hide?
Just don't die.
You're most likely to get hurt in baseball.
No.
What?
You go on the ice? They're fucking done.
Like I'm a good
I gotta
skater.
have a puck in order to be eligible to get hit, though,
That's true.
and I'll never have it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stick check in there.
Like here's the thing. I have this visual in my head of Zach Cassian bearing down on me.
Yeah.
That's
Wrong
you would
place,
definitely
wrong
be
time.
targeted because
I'd
someone
be
would
dead.
be like, "This is hilarious."
I would be a bloodstain. So I think baseball.
And
because
NFL, no.
No fucking way. No.
Get out of there.
Nope. Like, and I again,
Zach Ronaldo, I saw your tweets, asshole.
and LeBron, like
3 games, so worth it. Bang. Yeah.
Basketball might be okay.
Well, I'm super short. Like compared to those guys, I'm 5'11", so I'd be wrecked. And then LeBron is a walking Ninja Turtle. Like, he's crazy. So imagine a guy like that coming at you. I would get wrecked. I think baseball, there's like no physical contact, and there's hand-eye, and there's a chance that I might catch the ball.
You can just sit out in left field and hope the ball doesn't get hit to you.
That's right.
Yeah, but then when you go to bat, it's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I would be Manny Ramirez on defense, and then I would be.
You know what? NHL.
What?
NHL 100%, because at like, how much playing time am I actually going to get?
You're getting Tom Sestito minutes.
They're putting you on the ice though,
and that's fine. In baseball, I'll be just embarrassed for the entirety of time that I'm out there, which could be and likely will be a very long time. If they put me in left field, which first of all, you're putting a lot of trust in the fact that I can even throw that far.
Well, you just gotta hope, or I would want to be in right field because no one hits it to right.
You just gotta stand there and actively be part of your team losing in baseball. Basketball, I would just get attacked every single shift. Hockey, I could at least be somewhat passive. It would basically be like a penalty kill. It'd be like a penalty kill where like there's an extra. I would just
like, you're so bad that every time
I'd put on my Michelin Man winter coat and try to block shots.
Every time you go on the ice, it's like being a man down.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah, I think that would be for me too. I'm gonna go with. I'm still gonna go with baseball because again, objective is to not die. So, Jesse, what about you?
Oh, hockey, because I get a free jersey, free stuff.
I would go with basketball because I'd hope that at one point the ball just lands in my hands and I throw it up really quick and I get 2 points and I'd be like a score in a basketball game.
We got guys with the stat sheet 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, it's just one guy, Jesse Blake.
Like, I could get an assist.
Oh,
like, that'd be cool.
Could Jesse, in one season with no preparation whatsoever, average more points per game than Rafael Arujo?
Yes.
I think the answer is yes.
Or Yogi Stewart. Yeah.
Wow, I don't know who that is.
He was a guy we signed to like a 4-year, $24 million contract, never started a game. He was terrible. I would, the only reason I would pick basketball is so I could rock some John Stockton shorts. John Stockton shorts are legendary. I want to be scary close to dropping right out of my pants there. I think
they wouldn't
even
call you by name when they announce you.
No.
All right, here comes this chode.
And I would
Jesse
definitely
would
wear a
be
headband.
that short guy.
Jesse would
This is from Taylor Choma, Taylor C_2112 on Twitter. If you could go back 2 years ago, knowing what you know now about the Leafs' future, what would you change?
Matt Martin's contract.
2 years ago?
Am I the general manager?
So we're talking the at the beginning of the season they finished last in, or like pre-Babcock, or pre-Lou?
It just says 2 years ago.
2 years ago, it was we'd just gotten Babcock.
Right.
So the worst of it was over.
Would you go through the tank again for the results?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for things to change because I'm so happy with how many things have gone.
I mean, Kessel got traded, I think, almost 2 years ago to the day. I mean, I think it was mid-July he got traded.
It was July 1st, actually.
Oh, July 1st. There you go.
1st.
So
it was like the surprise of the day because you're expecting all these signings to happen, and all of a sudden, bam, Leafs trade their best player.
Speaking of the Kessel trade, just quickly as an aside, and I meant to bring this up earlier, I apologize. Justin Bourne.
Oh, holy shit. Yeah.
So he's left. Justin Bourne, friend of the show, has left the
Marlies.
The
Marlies
video coach, and he has joined the Athletic, which is good for him. But he was doing an interview yesterday, and he said, "I think everybody's sleeping on Kapanen." He's like, people forget. They're like,
I don't think anyone's sleeping on Kapanen.
I think there's a lot of people sleeping on Kapanen. There's a lot of average. I think there's a lot of average fans that think, and I mean average fans as in they have a life and they can't devote as much time to hockey as we do.
Twitter is. I gotta get off Twitter.
Twitter's not real life in terms of hockey fans.
It is.
It's not.
It's very much an echo chamber.
With regards to Kapanen, he said, I think that people are sleeping on him. People forget he's only 20 years old.
Yes.
And I guess the plan, he said the plan for him was that he was supposed to go up to the Leafs about a week after Jake Dotchin knocked his knees out. So that was...
And Babcock said about as much.
He was going up. And same with Travis Dermott. He said, I think Travis Dermott's going to be on the team next year.
I think so too.
And if that guy's saying that, then I think there's a pretty good chance that Travis Dermott can make it.
I think so too.
Question?
Anyway, sorry. I want to throw that there. Yeah. Anything? What would I change?
Yeah.
I would.
Sorry.
I would. In terms of the show or the team? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
The Leafs' future was the question.
Oh, the Leafs' future.
Leafs.
Yeah, Matt Martin's contract. I don't like it. I don't hate it, but I don't like it.
Surely you could have got him for less. Were teams offering him? Did anyone offer him $2 million per year for 4 years?
Actually,
Surely no.
I should hire Matt Martin's agent. Is what I need to do.
Ah, there you go.
He's a damn good agent.
I think we might have found it.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry. I wish I had a better answer.
Yeah. This is from Nate Britton, Nate B2399 on Twitter. Best moment when you realized the 90s were super long ago.
Best moment?
When I realized the 90s were super long ago. Geez, like every day of the past 5 years.
When guys are getting drafted and it says 1999 on their birth certificate.
You know, so when I see someone on HockeyDB now who has like a 1991 birthday, I'm like, oh, they're not young anymore.
Yeah.
Like you know how you see a certain year
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, they're practically a prospect. Someone born in 1991 is like 26 or turning 26.
We're 88 kids, man.
I know.
We're old.
Yeah, you know how I know you know what makes me feel like the 90s were a long time ago? The fact I was born in the 80s.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Miles wants to know if you could bring back one Leafs great and put them on the team next year, who would it be and why?
Oh, also looking at NHL footage from the 90s.
Oh,
It looks like shit.
especially the early 90s.
It looks terrible.
HD
Sorry, what
didn't
was the
exist.
question?
If you could bring back one Leafs great and put them on the team next year, who would it be?
Any Leafs great?
Yeah.
Of like the top 100?
Sure. Yeah, let's say top
Dion
100.
Phaneuf. No, right-handed shot defenseman.
You know, at the right price.
You know who I would bring back? Brian Leach.
I was about to say Brian Leach because I was trying to think of who would fit today's game.
Brian Leach.
Brian Leach. Damn it.
Leafs great. Brian Leach.
Yes, and no one else.
Don't forget, Brian Leach played for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Toronto Maple Leafs first. Boston Bruins second.
He played for the Bruins too.
Next, and then after that, the Rangers can have him.
Yeah.
But after that, Brian Leach. Yeah.
You get your choice of being drafted to any team.
Ooh, Caberlet.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I want to see how he would do today. With legs, though. Not end of the year, end of career busted Caberlet.
Is that how this works? You just get to pick their player in the prime?
Well, I think so.
Then
Yeah.
I want Doug Gilmour in his prime.
Well, but Jesse, that's the point,
I
right?
can't be like,
We're
I want
bringing back
Johnny
a Leafs
Bauer. And
legend.
we just throw out, all right, there he is, 90-year-old Johnny
I thought
Bauer.
they had
We
to
just
be,
put him in
I thought they had to be like now.
No,
guys.
Jesse. Come on. No
All
way.
right, here's Wendell Clark. He's having
Okay, I want
difficulty bending over.
Sundin.
Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with saying Sundin. I think most people would, but I think based on the team currently, Brian Leach is the guy I'd want. I'd
Imagine
want
Sundin
in his
without
prime. Brian Leach.
obstruction.
What's that?
Sundin without obstruction.
Oh yeah.
He'd probably
I
do
thought
okay.
they had to be like now.
No,
themselves.
man. No.
At this
That's
age.
actually
You can bring
kinda
back
funny.
Frank Mahovlich if you want to with his straight stick and his nice haircut.
And
Like Brad May would be in the top 10 there. Like,
Yeah.
Because at this point you're just picking guys who are still in shape.
Jason Blake,
Like,
Pavel
yeah.
Kubina, yeah, Francois Beauchemin, who's
gosh.
still playing.
There you go. There you go.
If it was based on people now, Francois
Oh,
Beauchemin.
Dion Phaneuf.
yeah,
Players who are still in the league.
Phil Kessel.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Anyways, Jesse, next question.
James Reimer.
oh my gosh. Okay.
Brian Leach for sure. Leafs great, Brian Leach.
If you could be drafted by any team, who would it be? It's from Spencer.
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah?
Really?
You would want to play for your hometown team? All
Absolutely.
that pressure?
Of course.
Okay.
Yep.
Would you trade Marlander Hughes for Mick Draisaitl?
No,
That's from Captain
So that
Chechi.
is, would you trade
3 for
Austin
2.
Matthews, William Nylander, and Mitch Marner for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl? Probably, just because it's fucking
Yeah.
Connor McDavid, man.
I don't
That
think it
was
would.
on the
Connor
wrong side of this.
McDavid.
You know why I like
Yeah.
this? You know
I
why?
love all three of them.
I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why.
McDavid is so far
Yeah.
ahead of
Balance,
everyone else.
balance scoring, man. Balance scoring.
No.
No.
I want to know.
You take some plug out of college, put him on McDavid's wing.
Don't talk about Jimmy Vesey like that.
Hey, oi! Great suggestion, Adam. I'll take Jimmy Vesey and put him on McDavid's wing. On the coach, I only play right wing. Well, guess what, dickhead? Draisaitl's there, so you're playing left. I'm putting you with Draisaitl and McDavid. Shut up.
Who wins in a bake-off between the two of you? This is from Rob. Rob with the hair on
Steve.
Twitter.
Steve wins in the bake-off because SL or Mrs. Dangle actually bakes.
You guys have to bake.
Yeah, but I don't know how to bake. I know
don't
how to
either.
cook some things. I don't know how to bake.
I've never baked a thing.
I don't think I have either.
Like,
I've cooked things.
yeah.
I don't know how to bake.
Who wins in a bake-off?
So who wins?
Here's
Me.
the thing. Steve, let me put it this way. It would be bad either way. It's a race to the bottom.
It's going to be bad.
Like
Colorado plays. Colorado.
Yeah, man. Here's
how it
a
would turn
Colorado
out.
versus Colorado match, and that's how our cakes would taste.
Mine would be like really soft and moist and delicious, and we'd be like, "Oh, wow, how did he even pull that off?" And then spend the rest of the day in the bathroom because like I didn't cook it properly, and just we just empty our entire lives into the toilet.
So
because we're sick.
Caprice once went on a baking spree, and she made this like zucchini chocolate cake because it was like a vegan way to make chocolate or something
What
like that.
asshole thought to put zucchini in sweets?
Now,
Sorry,
I have to
that
give her
is
credit.
Rude.
Give her credit.
It is rude.
It tasted really good, but we
No.
had a piece a couple
You
days
know what
later.
would have tasted better?
Real chocolate. I
A
get it.
cake without vegetables
But
in it.
she's like a health food nut, so that's what she does, and you know whatever.
Cool, she's wrong.
And you can tell her that.
Your future wife is wrong.
So we had it. And 3 days later, we both have a piece, and we're hanging out and talking, whatever. I'm like, hang on a second. And I go to the bathroom. And then about 10 minutes later, same thing for her.
Yeah,
and we
because your
realized
chocolate cake had rotting vegetables
because
in
it had rotting vegetables, and we were very ill. And that was the last time we had zucchini cake, and we'll ever have zucchini cake. I can no longer eat it.
Cool. I'm one step ahead of you. I will never have zucchini cake.
Well, there
This
you
is
go.
from Eric Lechner. The three of us are on Big Brother. What's the order of elimination?
Oh, I don't watch.
I don't really watch either. But like, okay, so how is it different from Survivor? Other than you're inside.
You're just in a house,
Yes.
and everybody gets voted off.
You just need to not be
a week.
annoying?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd for sure be first out. Adam can at least hold a conversation, and Jesse would be last out because he would
quiet.
I think
leave
I would
people
be.
alone.
I would be first out.
No.
Yeah.
Jesse, people meet you and just instantly like you.
I think I'm annoying, so I would be first out.
I don't think so, man. I don't think
What
so.
the fuck?
I think
You know what? You know what piece of feedback we have never gotten before? Jesse's annoying.
From me, you get that all the time.
Yeah,
This is
because
from-
you hate yourself because you work in media. That's how it works.
This is from Adam Cote from the Red Seats on Twitter. What is your boldest prediction for this next whatever season that starts in October?
Austin Matthews
next
will
one.
not score 40 goals, but will have more points next season.
Oh,
Yeah. Carolina Hurricanes make the playoffs.
I think Austin Matthews scores 37 goals, but he is closer to like 50 assists next year.
I saw an interesting tweet at some point during the season. It was like, give me your hot take or whatever. And this person goes, this season will be the most amount of goals Austin Matthews ever scores. It's possible.
It is
It's
possible.
Really,
that's
really,
a lot of goals.
40 in today's NHL is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
It's over 50 era adjusted.
So
it's really hard.
Not only will he face
I
tougher
think.
competition next year, but I also think that he had to score a lot of those goals because no one else on his line was going to. And you know,
Shooting percentage was a little high.
it was, and but
That's
he
not
was
true,
he was.
man. He played with Connor Brown.
I know,
and
but he
William
paired.
Nylander.
But they were all rookies, man. They were all rookies. They were all learning. Nylander had his issues. Like Nylander played on the fourth line a couple games, right? Because
Yeah.
Babcock was like, "Yo." if
So
you-
did Connor Brown.
So did Connor Brown. So I think, and Connor Brown didn't even play the first 10 games of the year. It was Milan Mahalik, wasn't it?
No, Brown was in the lineup.
He was?
It was when Mahalik left, I think they brought up Sosh.
Okay.
And they claimed Ben Smith off waivers and he replaced Peter Holland. or
Right,
something
okay.
like that.
So
no,
here's-
Brown was in the entire time.
I think there will be a lot more opportunity for Austin Matthews to collect a lot more points and set more people up because he's very good at that. But we didn't get to see that in the same way. I think William Nylander, game 1 versus game 82, different player. Different
He
player.
was arguably the best Leaf in their final 20-25 games.
And yet he won Rookie of the Month first month of the season. So I'm not taking away
Twice,
from twice.
I think.
No, but the first.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
But I'm just saying. Yeah, I understand that he won it. He won it in October, and a lot of people are going to be like, "But he won it in October." What I saw from his complete game and the way those two played together, I think William Nylander scores more goals. I think William Nylander could be in for the 30-goal season. And I think Austin Matthews is definitely in for a 30-goal season. I think he's definitely capable. And I think those two are just going to set each other up. And then imagine them on the power play. You've got Marleau, JVR, Connor Brown potentially. Sometimes they put Leo Komarov on the power play, which I don't think they're going to have to do anymore, just because they want to give the team a chance.
Bozak's a decent power play guy. JVR.
Absolutely, but I'm looking at who Austin Matthews has to finish now. I think the option is better with Marleau there on the power play especially, and I think you've got a far more confident and complete William Nylander.
I'm not going to tell you how well the Leafs are going to do next season. I'm not going to make a prediction there. I will say, though, that the Leafs are going to ruin a lot of goalies' days.
Good.
It's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to that.
Ryan,
if nothing else, they're going to be fun.
Ryan Quirk wants to know.
Hey.
You guys get a 10-team no-trade list. Who's on it?
Oh, 10 teams.
5.
Let's say 5.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend
just to
half
save
the
time.
a third of the NHL that listens to
All
this.
right, where are the places I would least like to play?
All right. You
Now,
got 5 teams.
Now, how do you rate this? Because to me, I'm like, at my age, I'm 29.
I know where he's
I'm in
going.
win now mode.
Well, see, now that's hard too.
I'm an
because-
unrestricted free agent. Jesse's an RFA.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's very hard because a good team can turn to a bad team pretty quick, and a bad team can turn to a good team pretty quick, as we've seen.
Also, the tax situation.
Yeah. So no trade. And no offense to Montreal, but it'd be Montreal because of the tax situation for sure. Because the taxes are highest there. I would also
I'm not thinking about that sort of thing. Sorry, no, sorry. I'll let you answer.
First off, you're wrong.
You answer first.
But okay,
You answer.
I'm not thinking about that.
You answer, Adam.
Okay, when you make $5 million
know,
a year
Steve.
and you get 2.5 of that, tell me how you feel.
I'm rich. How do I feel? Rich.
Adam, you know Stephen.
We do not think the same.
I know.
thinking
we
about
just
that.
do
I
not
know.
think the
But
same.
I'm thinking about the places I would most like
I'd
to live.
love to live in Montreal.
Montreal?
Is
Sure.
amazing.
No, but no.
Tax situation, but that one. You know what? I wouldn't want to go to I wouldn't want to go to Vancouver because it's too expensive to live
$1
there.
million isn't enough.
No, I wouldn't want to live in one of the best cities in North America. I complain about Vancouver, but are you kidding me?
I wouldn't want to be on
play
that
in
team.
Vancouver.
I wouldn't want to be on that team.
I want Jim Benning to be my GM. You know how much more the
You bet you
amount
get
of money
more.
I could friggin' stiff that guy for will outweigh the taxes.
All right. So okay. Let me start again.
Pick your 5 teams.
Colorado,
Okay.
Buffalo. Because if I'm going to play in Buffalo, it hurts me that Toronto's just up the road. It's not Buffalo the city. It's that it's so close to Toronto, and I'd see them every game. And I'm a huge Leaf fan, so that'd be hard for me. Colorado, Buffalo, and I'm trying to think of what.
Proximity to home, though, would make me want to play in Buffalo. The weather isn't a giant factor for me either. So, I'm not too worried about Winnipeg. I don't know. I feel bad. Arizona is on mine.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad.
I would like to play with Max Domi, though.
So you're only at 3.
Proximity to other places is important. What is around Glendale? Don't say Phoenix. I know that. Other than how far of a drive is it to LA?
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty far.
What's
Arizona's
the
pretty
neighboring
big.
States. What are the neighboring states?
I don't know, Steve.
Yeah, man, I'm not playing there. Sorry.
I'm gonna say for the same reasons that I said Buffalo, I'm gonna say Ottawa as well.
So you're
Buffalo,
Ottawa, Buffalo,
Montreal,
Montreal,
Montreal because of the taxes, Vancouver because of the hockey team,
and one more.
and let me think.
I'm such an.
I don't know.
Sometimes
I like
think I'm
all-
a pessimist, and then
I
now
like all
I'm
these
having
places.
a hard time.
This is very hard. This is difficult.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I feel bad about Arizona.
Arizona would be an amazing lifestyle, and there's no taxes.
But there's racists.
Just
Which
races
is
everywhere.
something I gotta think about.
As a white man, as a white oppressed man, you must think about that.
Oh.
I don't know, man.
I was gonna be like, you watch CBCS? No. Nope.
No, let's not.
Man, I'm having such a hard time coming
Yeah,
up with a
this
list
is a tough one.
which is making me feel worse about Arizona because they're like, oh, but yeah, no problem with us.
You wouldn't pick Buffalo?
I don't want to play in Vegas.
Yeah. They're going to be awful for a decade.
Yeah, I'm gonna not be a part of Vegas's future at this point. So I'll say Vegas. So no.
Yeah, you're 29. You won't be around.
When I got off the
They're
strip,
good.
I'm like, this
But
is
then you get to live in
depressing.
Vegas.
But Montreal would be great
It
to
is
play in.
100 degrees at midnight. I know I said weather's not a factor, but I'll deal with the extreme cold before I deal with that
See,
shit.
again, this is where we differ.
I know. I know.
Because you're wrong. You're objectively wrong.
Okay, so deserts are off for me.
So Arizona, Vegas, and that's it. You'll go anywhere
You
else?
would go to Buffalo?
Boy, I don't want to live there. But the proximity to Toronto
Buffalo's not
helps.
that bad anymore.
It's not. It's getting better
And
for
the
sure.
proximity, you could live in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edmonton, just to piss people off.
See, I'd
cold
love-
deserts also.
I'd want to go play on Connor McDavid's wing.
No, I'll play in Calgary.
Calgary?
Calgary's really nice.
For sure.
Okay.
I would totally play in Winnipeg, too.
Montreal because I would never play for the Habs.
Yeah.
And Ottawa because I would never play for the Sens.
Yeah.
There you go.
Honestly, I
I know
think,
they're close
what
to
are
home,
yours?
but
Me? See, now we got to do this whole thing again.
I
We just
know.
went through it.
Imagine we tried to pick 10 teams.
Buffalo, Arizona, Vegas, Calgary.
Whoa!
Calgary.
Yeah, the team's not good enough.
What? Calgary?
Team's not good enough. I don't think Calgary's going to be very good next year.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Damn!
That is scalding.
Goaltending's overrated. Goudreau had a bad year. I don't expect him to bounce back.
Okay.
Who else they got?
Oh man, you're gonna get so
You know what's
many
going to
people
be
angry
great
at him.
is how Jesse ends up being right. That's going to be fun.
Well, what'll be hilarious is that nobody will hate tweet him about that. But if I said it or you said it, forget it, man.
Now a lot of people are... Okay, yeah. If
Yeah,
Adam
but now
and I
you're
say it-
goading people into tweeting me.
No. I think they're gonna be like, Jesse's right, and here's why. Okay.
Anyways, we won't have a show next week to discuss it, so. What? Who is...
Calgary's gonna be shit for the next 2 weeks.
Lucas W. wants to know, who is your dream podcast guest? Let's go. They have to be alive.
Alive?
Well, shit. That's where I was going.
No, because you could always do dead or alive. Who
No, no,
let's,
dead.
let's do. They got to be alive.
Dead is-
they got to
that's
be
too much.
alive and gettable.
Ron McLean.
Brendan Shanahan.
Nice.
Boy.
Brendan Shanahan.
Mike Babcock.
I'd love to get him too.
you got
I
one.
want to talk to Mike Babcock as Mike Babcock.
I
I
wanna-
want Mike Babcock to interview Mike Babcock.
The NHL Network has a guy that does an impression of Babcock, and it's not even in the same galaxy, and he laughed at it. So
I'm just saying.
I think
Yeah,
that you
I
need
definitely I saw that interview and I was like,
you ain't got nothing, kid.
girl.
Yeah, no, I think Shanahan would be very, very interesting. I would like to talk to Lou Lamoriello about what it's like to have him as his dad. Like, Lou has kids. Like, I would love to get to what's Lou Lamoriello like as a dad? If he's like this as the Toronto, like, were his kids not allowed to have long hair? Like, I'd love to know what they were like when they rebelled against him, and how he handled it. Because Lou is a guy who likes order. Lou, but you know, he's a very smart guy. He's a very interesting guy. Gives you absolutely nothing. But I'd love to talk about that. Like, what were your kids like in their teen? Just something like that, because it give you a lot of insight into who he is and where he's coming from. And that's what I want to understand about Lou that I don't yet is, who is this guy? I understand that you're making these moves, and I know that you love to keep us all guessing. Who are you? And I don't tell me something about Lou Lamoriello. Tell me one characteristic about the guy, other than he's a sneaky motherfucker and a great general manager.
How about this? Bob and Sean McKenzie at the same time.
Oh,
That'd be pretty
that
good.
is a podcast waiting to happen. Those two, they should have a podcast.
I think it becomes more possible when one of them retires.
Yeah, probably. Sean is due for retirement.
He is due.
He's accomplished a lot in his career.
I want to say I haven't heard that.
No, Bob's
It's
not
just
going
something-
anywhere.
It's just, hey, we're going into dreamy silly land, and that's where I ended
honestly,
up.
they could probably. I would imagine that Sportsnet and TSN probably wouldn't care if those two did a podcast. You
Yeah.
think?
Oh yeah, they wouldn't mind if two bitter rivals. Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
They would.
Yeah.
God, I'd love to hear that. I'd listen
Me
every
too.
week.
Me too.
Khaled Khan 91 wants to know, McDavid at age 20, Crosby at age 20. Who do you take?
Well, they both won the Hart, I'm pretty sure. Well, they both did as sophomores. My God. my God.
In your life,
The sure bet is Crosby because you know what he's accomplished thus far. But I'm going with McDavid because I think McDavid's better. There, I said it.
They're two different types of players. No, we've never seen a player with the speed and acceleration of McDavid. Never seen it. It's never existed in the sport. Crosby is one of the most skilled players in the league, if not the most skilled, one of the fastest, has some of the best acceleration, and combine that with he will work harder and he is just as gritty as any enforcer in the league. That doesn't mean he can beat those guys up.
But he hustles.
You can't knock that guy off the puck.
No, and he's head first into every board thing. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's a tough question. I'm going with McDavid because I have to make a choice, and I do think they're 1 and 1A in the league, but I definitely think McDavid's got the edge right now, and I'm going to go with that. That's what I say.
I'll say McDavid because we're talking about 20. I think a lot of what has made Sidney Crosby the best player in the NHL has been accrued over time. Like that
There was a debate about whether Ovechkin or Crosby were better.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah,
there was it. That's what I mean.
There was a debate.
There was.
Sorry, yeah.
There was a huge debate.
Mm-hmm.
And there's none of that going on with McDavid.
No.
Yeah, I'll say McDavid because the battle readiness or the battle testedness, whatever, of Crosby has been earned over time. Whereas McDavid is like we're still looking at him like he's an alien. Like we have no idea how to stop him.
But the Oshawa Generals shut him down, and that's what matters.
Yeah, they shut him down by literally triple teaming him and just hoping that his teammates didn't score. I saw it.
And they did it.
Yeah, and Ken Appleby played amazing. Oshawa goalie.
Smitty 150. What is the meaning of life?
Oh, man.
Helping others. Sharing stories.
Hockey Twitter. Hockey Twitter is the meaning of life. There you go.
The meaning of life is being right. I don't know.
You know what? You described Twitter perfectly. It is just an echo chamber. Because all it is, when you think about Twitter in a real life situation, it's just a guy going, it's literally to no one in particular yelling something out. Mm-hmm. I bought a latte today and it cost $3.99. Gah! That's a tweet. That's a tweet.
You know what I find is the amount of times I'm having a conversation with someone in real life with my mouth and words, and, like talking to someone face to face, and I don't know them from Twitter, and they don't know me or anything. Mm-hmm. How many times they don't have the slightest idea of any of the fundamentals of like any kind of analytics. They don't understand like even Corsi or Fenwick or even like the most basic.
Well, those are usually the people that don't like it, is the ones that, like, as soon as you understand what Corsi is, it just makes sense. Even if you #played the game.
Totally. But like if you were to just go off Twitter, everyone knows what it is.
Well, no.
Even the people who don't like it.
I couldn't tell you how to calculate it, but I could tell you what it is.
There's a lot of things I couldn't tell you about it, but I think I understand the fundamentals of a lot of things. But it's amazing, like how many like hardcore hockey fans, they're just like, what? What is that at all? Yeah,
it's because they're tough concepts. They're not easy.
Twitter's fine. It's just if you're on it too much and you're not actually talking to people face to face, it's very unhealthy.
If the Leafs, this is from Curtis Hade. If the Leafs played Game 7 of the Stanley Cup in Toronto and you had tickets, how much money would it take for you to not go?
We've talked about this. What's the max amount of money I would spend? I would spend $2,000 more than that.
How much would
I would
it
put
take?
myself in financial peril.
You got free tickets. How much does it take for you to give up those tickets?
Wow! Oh my God!
The answer is any amount of money that you offer, I can make. That's how I look at it.
$10 billion.
No one's giving me $10 billion for Leafs.
This is a hypothetical.
All right.
How much money would it take for you to say, I'm not
either
going?
Someone gives you that amount of money,
Here it is.
or you go.
The entire revenue of the United States Treasury for 1 year. That's what it would take. Revenue.
You wouldn't do anything
As in
short of
all
that.
the tax dollars they collect. That's what I would do.
You wouldn't take $100,000.
No. Absolutely not. Nothing will ever replicate the memory of me being at that Game 7. Nothing will ever replicate
$10 million.
Nothing will replicate the memory we had of being in Nashville.
I would take $10 million over going to Nashville with you two fucks. every day of the week. $10 million.
See, I just feel like I'm capable of making it.
I could, if I had the $10 million that I didn't go to Nashville, we could go to 1 million Nashvilles.
And I would always hit Jesse up for money.
Exactly.
That's
and I would
true.
be like, hey, I got free $10 million.
Continued free things
I couldn't do it.
for Steve.
I would not be able to do it.
No, I couldn't do it. And I always think back to this moment. So I got my ticket for the gold medal game in Vancouver. I think it was like less than an hour before puck drop, and I had to walk, but I there wasn't enough time, so I had to run. And as I'm running, I heard people scalping tickets, and the amount of money the tickets were going for was well over half of what I got paid in total to be in Vancouver. Well over half. And I think back to what if I had sold that ticket? I would never have forgiven myself.
Mm-hmm. There's some memories that you just can't pass up. And that's
there.
that life, you know what the meaning of life is? It's the experiences. It's at the end of it you go, what did I do? What did I do? What did I see? What amazing did I witness?
I still love when people go, were you there? And I go, I was there. Now imagine, were you there? I sold the ticket. What? Imagine your conversation.
Now, what if your answer was, but I got $10 million?
And then you did a bunch of $10 million things.
And then I bought the couch.
Steve, have you ever done a bunch of $10 million things in your life? Tell me about it.
I don't know what $10 million is. We've talked about this before. I wouldn't know how to spend $10 million. Literally.
Well, you're wrong again. This is where you're wrong.
I think I'd get to like
Tomorrow.
2 or 3 and I'd be stuck.
You're.
I'm a simple man, Adam.
All right, well, then you can give the rest to me when you win 10.
We're going for vacation and I chose Halifax. I'm a simple man. I'm a simple fuddy-duddy. Let's go to Ibiza.
Hell yeah.
Crazy.
Let's
Nope,
take some
Halifax.
pills and tell Avicii that we're cool, okay? That's what I say.
Oh, because the song.
You don't want to ride the bus like this, Steve. You don't.
Dye your hair like this.
Mansions. Jesse, what we got?
This is from Alex.
Okay.
Player whose skill has stood out most to you at a live game.
Oh, 2 in particular, because they just stood out so much from their peers. Well, okay, Connor McDavid actually, so 3. Seeing Connor McDavid, I only saw him in 1 OHL game, and it was in the OHL finals, and his team lost. And he was still 300% better than any other player on the ice, including
Crazy.
Dylan Strome. I couldn't tell you what Dylan Strome's number was at the end of that game, but McDavid was just absurd. Every single time he was on the ice, it was a crisis for the Generals. Oh shit! And they like shoved 3 guys on him. So him, Sidney Crosby, is the best part about watching Sidney Crosby is the reaction of his opponents. Because whenever he gets the puck, they're just like, oh shit, oh why me? How come couldn't it be the other guy on the ice with Crosby? Fuck. And the other is Peter Forsberg. He was absolutely in his prime live. I think I saw him, I want to say twice. I want to say once with the Avalanche when he was like still relatively healthy, really, really good. And then again with the Preds. But I'm not 100%
When he
sure
had
on that.
the ankle surgically, like when he was Mr. Robot and had the whole
Avalanche, Peter Forsberg, holy shit.
Yeah. Go back and watch some of those old
Unbelievable.
Rock'em Sock'em tapes, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, he was, when you think of like a creative player in the NHL video games that you make giant and still give super speed and skill to, that was Peter Forsberg. He was unbelievable.
I'm going to say...
In NHL 2001, he had both a slap shot stick and a hammer. Whenever I did a fantasy draft, like you select your team out of the whole league, I would get Peter Forsberg. First.
Okay, so I would say Ryan Getzlaf. Ryan Getzlaf, when I saw him...
Shit, yeah. He's a
especially,
good one too.
so when I lived in Calgary, the Flames were still bad. So this is just pre-Gaudreau, and Sven Barchi was their best hope. So this was not good. And I don't even
things have
think
changed,
I
eh?
don't even know if Iggy had been traded yet. I don't think he had. And so, the lockout season ends, and I go to the first game with my girlfriend at the time, and we got our Flames t-shirts on, we're excited, blah, blah, blah. And I just remember looking at her and going, holy shit, Ryan Getzlaf is the only player on the ice. And he really was. It was incredible, and she didn't know who that was. But it was like, it was like him and everybody else. Like Corey Perry didn't factor in as much. Ryan Getzlaf, especially at that point, and I think still is, dominant player. And the other guy was Mitch Marner. I was of course blown away by Matthews, but when I saw Mitch Marner, there are little things that Mitch Marner does that I'm like, and I don't think I talk about it enough because I always want to give William Nylander his due, and everybody's talking about Mitch Marner, but Mitch Marner is astounding.
I really hope Mitch
Magic.
Marner is where hockey is going.
Yeah,
The way he plays.
he's magic. They all three of them are, but Mitch Marner, I love just it's an old term, but dipsy doodle stuff. He just does creative things sometimes, and you're like, wow. I could never even have envisioned that in my head, and you made that happen, and you successfully pulled that off.
I think it was Tyler Dello was telling a story at Puck Talks. Were you guys there for this? No, I think you guys had to go.
Yeah, we did.
He was telling a story of a time he saw McDavid live, and he was sitting with all the scouts, and he was sitting next to a scout, and you watch the play and anticipate it dying at a certain point. Okay, the puck's going to get past here. He's going to stop him here, and then the McDavid has the puck, and the play just keeps going beyond all expectations of where it should have stopped. And he and the scout both out loud went, holy shit. And then they stood up because he did something else, and holy shit! Wow! And like scouts who like literally don't know English, like they don't know any language. They sentiently go close their eyes, and then a pen floats off the table, and that writes their notes. Like they don't speak. And they both just went, holy shit! He's that type of player, man.
I've just never seen him play live.
Yeah.
Never seen him play live.
To your Getzlaf point, I've never seen the numbers, but I still say he was Canada's best forward at the 2010 Olympics.
I think he was.
Yeah, the best three players to me, from my stupid 2010 eyes, which are not much better than my 2017 eyes. Getzlaf was the best forward. Shea Weber was unbelievable. Drew Doughty at 20 years old was unbelievable.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Rakan, a good team that will be not so good next year. A bad team that will be good.
Steve said it earlier. Carolina. Carolina's going to make the playoffs.
Do they count as a bad team, though?
Huh?
Do they count?
Yes.
as
They were a bad team last year.
They were bad.
Like there's three teams in the Metro actually. The Islanders, Flyers, and Hurricanes. None of them made the playoffs. Were any of them bad?
No.
I don't think so.
Philadelphia is going to be scary next year too, but I think Carolina is the one that takes the biggest leap forward. Good team that is bad.
Dallas?
And the West?
Dallas improved in basically every area, and they still don't really scare me.
They don't scare me until
Am
the
I
second
wrong?
round. Or they
I'm
don't
wrong.
scare me. They scare me. They scare me until the first or second round of the playoffs.
Well, they have to make the playoffs first.
Well, yeah, and I think they will.
Okay.
I do, especially considering the West is, on paper the weaker conference. We'll see about that. Good team that does worse, Chicago.
Yeah. Capitals?
Doesn't mean they won't be bad or good. It just means they will not
'cause
be.
you gotta think they won
I mean,
the
they
West
were the
last year.
top effing team in the
Yeah.
right. Like they were top for points except for Washington.
Well, then let me take an even bolder stance. The Washington Capitals. I don't think they'll be bad.
no.
Even if they don't make the playoffs, I don't expect them to be bad.
But middle of the pack?
Yeah, boy. I've seen projections for their lineup. The top six is still scary. Bottom six and like the bottom two pairings.
If I was Washington, I'd call about a guy like Nikita Soshnikov.
Totally.
Like,
Totally.
that's the kind of guy you're looking for, guys, excess forwards, stuff like that. I mean, I'd be calling Vegas about Brendan Leipzig.
the
If I'm the Caps, why not? You need a guy. You'll
I
probably
think
need.
Sosh might even be cheaper.
There you go. He's on a pretty cheap deal.
He is. There's a few teams out there. Like the Leafs are one of the few teams that have too many players. So I feel like at some point, something's going to have to give. 'Cause there's a bunch of free agents available still, but they're all going to make like several $1 million. It's not like you can go out there and be like, you know what? We're missing 3 players, so we're going to go out and get Jussi Jokinen, Thomas Vanek, and Jaromir Jagr.
Can't do that.
Okay, you can, but it'll cost you somewhere between $9 and $12 million.
Yeah.
This is
Or something.
from Penn's Friends, and it's specifically for Adam.
Uh-oh.
Do you ever call your fiance Capri Sun? As a nickname for Caprice.
No.
And
call her
if so,
C-Price.
what flavor is she?
Well, I think it's the only flavor, which is the fruit punch flavor, whatever they called that, because that's the only flavor worth drinking. Okay, if you're drinking Capri Sun. The other thing is, I'm going to tell you a very inappropriate joke, but and Caprice will hate me for this, but she'll also never hear it, so that'll be okay. So we were walking through New York City once, and
Making your way downtown?
making our way downtown, walking fast, faces past. We were homebound. No, so we're walking through Central Park in New York in the first summer that we were dating. And somebody walks by
What movie is this?
with a shirt. No. Somebody walks by with a shirt that
And
says,
Jennifer Aniston inevitably walked by.
And then Tom Cruise told me.
And she was like, I don't know about my boyfriend. And you're like, wow, so cool that I'm in every Jennifer Aniston movie. Sorry.
Oh, Matt Damon, you want me to come over for some
guys,
beer?
it's just Central Park. It's not that big a deal. It's a $200 flight away. Come on.
No.
It's a big deal.
So,
Nah.
anyway, we're walking through and there's a person who walks by with one of those, those travel shirts that people wear that are like if they come to Canada and like they go to the kitschy shit knick-knacky shops, and they're like, Canada, and it's like a moose with
Sure.
So somebody had one that said Capri on it. But it said, I'd rather be in Capri. And Caprice is like, you need to get a shirt like that, but then put a tape on a CE on the end of it. So that's,
pretty
I'd
funny.
rather be in Caprice. Did
Did you ever find the shirt?
We didn't. We'd have to go to Capri to do it, I think.
Where's Capri?
I think it's
don't
in the Mediterranean, I want to say. Greece? Anyway.
Since we had a question for Adam, here's a question for Steve. This is from Darcy Selke.
Hey.
How weird is it to think that 10 years from now, a grade 4 hockey-loving kid is going to do a book report about you?
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
I don't know, man. It's funny, this whole little goofy journey that I've been on,
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about it very much.
I was about to say, do you ever sit back and think about it?
No, because it's a little bit like, you ever look at the night sky for too long and it starts to freak you out?
Yeah.
Or like you start to look out at the ocean and you start to go, I feel small and I'm about to die.
Yeah.
I don't know what that feeling
Like,
is.
oh, there's an infinite amount of universes, and there's an infinite amount of those.
Yeah.
And we're just one in the infinite amount, and then you get scared.
I literally don't matter. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about. I don't like reflecting on it too much. I like thinking about what I'm going to do next. And
Adam is getting up to
Adam's
go to the
going
washroom?
pee. He tried to be stealth about it, but I'm not going to allow him to do
Nope.
that. I don't know. I don't like reflecting on it too much. Now, here's the problem. I have to
Yes.
because of the book.
That's what your book is about.
I started it. I finally
did you?
started it. Yeah. I wrote.
Oh.
It's funny. I wrote a chapter, or not a chapter. I wrote like part of a chapter. My proposal was it's going to be 20 chapters. It's not. It could, or it might be, but it's going to be like several parts to each chapter.
Okay.
But then I was thinking today about how I could like it was about 2,000 words, and I'm like, oh, I could double it because I should tack this onto the end. And then that one thought that I had was like, oh wait, that might be longer than the initial story. So I don't know the grade. I don't know.
It's weird that you had to say it's 20 chapters, because I think you wouldn't know how long or how many chapters it's going to be until you write it.
Well, when you propose a book, you got to give them something,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So I was like, okay, it's about 20 parts,
Okay.
and then I go, okay, but this one part, I need at least 5 stories to tell it.
Mm-hmm.
This part, I need like I don't know. I also don't think a kid can properly learn from me if I don't even understand how it's all worked. I think maybe by the end of the book I'll have a better idea. I think at some point in the title or byline, it's going to have the term accidentally on purpose. I don't know.
Famous people always say they feel like they're in a fishbowl, and the more famous they get, the bigger they get inside.
You mean
their little
lonely?
Fishbowl.
In a lonely sense?
Jesus.
Just
You're, like analyzing
in a
me
way
now.
that the world is looking at them. Do you ever feel that way?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you ever feel like you're in a fishbowl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hope that like I'm still thought of in 10 years. You know what I mean? Like the reason I don't like reflecting that much is I like to think that progress is always upward, and I hate the thought of maybe it's gonna tank at some point. In 10 years, I'm gonna be 39. Can I still do the same videos?
Yeah.
I like to think so.
You'll do it. You'll do them at 39 though.
Yeah. But what if I do them and people go, you know what? This was cute when he was 24.
I think people
now it's fucking weird.
When you were 24,
I'm so sick of his shit.
When you were 24, and I remember this specifically, people said, "Oh, that's cute, but he won't be able to do that at 30."
I've seen that. I've also
honestly,
seen
no.
people
I think what
get
we're
sick of
seeing,
me.
of course,
Yeah.
people get sick of anybody, right? Of course. But that doesn't mean that you can't invite new people in, right? I think it's just a matter of it's that's the great thing about entertainment is if you're bored by it, if you're upset by it, then you don't have to consume it. And I think for you, Steve, I think honestly, what will happen is the depth of your content will get better, as it has especially over the last 5 years. You know, when you look at the videos that you used to make when we started this show versus and you were pretty good at analyzing things then, but think about 4 years ago versus now and where you're at in your depth of knowledge. I think that adds to it. It's layer after layer after layer. And as long as you don't surround yourself with yes people, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I look at it.
I still love the yes men part of the Charlemagne book when he's talking about the Kanye West interview.
Yeah.
So
Don't wreck
No?
it. Just
Okay.
just read the Charlemagne
Buy that
book.
damn book.
That's
It's
the
so
best
good.
story in the book.
This from NHL History Girl. Steve said he had a story about this, but we'll ask
shit.
Adam first, so then Steve can wait on his story and close with that.
like I
Adam,
might
what's
have
the
told it
dumbest
before,
thing
but-
you've ever asked someone in an interview?
Hockey player?
Anybody?
Okay, well the dumbest thing that I
he
ever
asked UFC champion Chris Weidman, "Who are you?"
Why aren't you on the send?
the most ill-advised thing that I asked, but I still felt like I had to ask it, was Connor McDavid. And it was last summer, and he was doing a golf tournament in Newmarket.
Oh, yes.
And we
I remember
had
this
what's
story.
called a double ender, as in he's at one end of the camera, I'm back in the studio at the other. And at the end of the interview, I said, Connor, we're reading reports that you will be the next captain of the Edmonton Oilers. Is that the case? And
Is that the case?
Is that the case, Connor? And he said, "Oh, I'm not going to talk about that. Really focused on the World Cup." Blah 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 blah. Of course, a week later, it's announced that he's a captain. But it was
dumbest question?
ill-advised because think of the audience. It's breakfast television, right? Nobody cares in Toronto who's going to be the captain of the Edmonton Oilers.
I think you're wrong. I think that's a misread.
No,
Connor McDavid's big
I'm-
enough.
No.
And the
he's
way
not.
he sounded,
Yeah, no, not in pop culture.
I don't think it was smart and popular. I also think he was really pissed off by the question.
Yeah.
Now, Connor McDavid's not a great interview.
It's not your job. to be
You
his
don't go on
friend.
breakfast television to be asked about captaincy.
Unless you're Austin Matthews, which
Unless
is
it's
Leafs.
here.
Yeah. But I did want to ask him because I just wanted to ask him. I was like, you know what? Maybe he drops a hint or something. Maybe.
What do you wish you could have asked instead?
Well, I don't know what I asked in that interview that would have been memorable outside of that, to be honest. Because it was about this golf tournament. It was about the World Cup. It was very much in the moment content, not long lasting stuff like, are you going to be the captain? So, I mean, yeah. And double enders are hard because if you've never met the person before, then it's like talking to somebody you've never met on the phone, right? You don't know who the hell you're talking to, and they can't see you. So, you don't have that vibe of being next to them in a studio. And
Interviewing someone you've never met can really only go one of two ways: wonderfully or terribly. Yeah.
one of the best phone interviews I ever did was Pitbull. One of the worst was Justin Bieber.
I believe that 100%.
Pitbull
Because
was
everything I've heard about
outstanding.
Pitbull behind the scenes is he's awesome.
He's wicked.
I get a little sick of his music sometimes.
He's a good. That is a
dance to it a
good
little bit,
person.
but- Yeah, it sounds like a really hardworking person who does not surround himself with yes people. And then there's Justin Bieber.
Can I follow up? What's your non-hockey person? Dumbest question.
Come back to me on that, Steve. You go ahead.
Okay.
Jennifer Botterill. It still sticks out in my head. I've asked plenty of stupid questions, but this one I still go. You ever react out loud to a memory?
Yes.
Bill Burr has this bit
the
where
time.
he's like, you ever in the shower and you remember something douchey from your
Yeah.
child? Jennifer Botterill, 100%. I was trying so hard. And also keep in mind, this was 2010. I didn't know shit. And Nike was taking a chance on me. And it was before the Olympics. We were in Calgary. It was January 2010. So that day, I had to do like 40-minute interviews with Jennifer Botterill, Jana Hefford, Jillian Apps, and Jerome McGinley. And I was, so sick. So fucking sick. I couldn't hear anything because all my sinuses were totally clogged. And then I got on the plane, and it felt like my brain was trying to escape my head when we landed in Calgary. I was in so much pain. I was alone on the plane and still reacting out loud to the pain. That's how bad I was going, in my seat. And so I didn't feel good. I was trying to frame a question around Harvard being known for things other than hockey. Because she went to Harvard. And I was basically trying to say, people don't think of Harvard when they think of hockey. That's not the first thing that you think of.
That's true.
It is true, but in retrospect, like, Harvard has a good program.
But when someone says Harvard, you don't think of hockey.
Her view on that would be very skewed because for her, that's her whole life.
Yeah.
But I also feel like she would understand, because Jesse understood right away.
Yeah.
She would understand
But Jesse didn't go to Harvard.
No.
That's true.
But yeah, that's
play
true.
hockey for Harvard.
But if I worded it like a smart person, I think it would have been fine. And I just kept going, ebidi, through the whole thing. And then she finally just pauses and gives me a face like that, cock your head to the side, squint, and she just goes, "Are you a trooper in my school?"
Well, at least she was fun about it.
She was fun about it. Like, that could have gone south. It could have gone south. But the whole rest of the interview was like, she thinks I am a mucking foron.
I can beat that.
Yeah?
I can beat that.
Oh, I don't know.
It was the first time I interviewed, and again, watch me trip over this name here. But I was 22, and
Mario Lemieux.
And it was Taylor Swift on the phone.
I've heard she's awful.
She's trained. Taylor Swift knows what to do. Taylor Swift goes into the interview and goes into every interview going, I need to get this information out. So every question they ask, I'm going to bring it back to this information until they ask the question that gets out this information. Agony. So
I respect that.
Yeah, she's very, very smart with how she plays the public. So at this particular moment, I think.
Oh, I'm not hating on her for it. It's just painful for him.
So I was asking,
100%.
I was asking a question about one of the songs on her album, and I said, there's rumors this song's about John Mayer. And I said, but we won't get into that because I always feel like at the time I thought I was doing her a favor. Like, we won't get into that.
You still mentioned it.
I know. I mentioned it because I wanted to say, how do you, when you're talking about your relationships, is it hard to have that come out? But here's where I went wrong. Okay? Because I said, there's rumors this song's about John Mayer. We won't get into that. Blah, 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 blah. And we know that the John Mayer dating rumor was just a rumor, because at that point it was just a rumor. We didn't say. Later on, I come to find out that there's a song on the album, not the song I was talking about, called Dear John, about John fucking Mayer. And she just was silent on the other end of the phone. Let me drift in the fucking wind, which God bless her, she should have.
Yeah.
And when I interviewed her in person in Edmonton about a year later, it was way, way better.
Did you bring it up?
No, she wouldn't remember. That was a 5-minute phone interview. Taylor Swift doesn't even do phone interviews anymore. She wouldn't. She doesn't need to. But that was like one of those like, don't worry, Taylor. I know you didn't date John. Hardy har har har. There's a fucking song out there called Dear John, and it's one of her famous songs. Anyway, so that was the worst question. What are you gonna do? I was 23 or 22 and really new at it. That would have been, I think, 2010, 2011.
Life lesson that I am still very bad at. In moments like that, you just gotta kind of go, fuck. Okay, move on. I'm very bad at that. I can't do it. If I fuck up, I feel bad about it forever.
In radio, you don't have a choice, right? You fuck up and it's like, I gotta know the break in 2 songs, so I gotta keep going here.
Well, what I do is I keep going while feeling bad.
No, that usually fucks up your next break.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Like I said, I need to get better at it.
There was one question that, Steve, you said you liked.
That was the one.
That was the one?
Yeah. That's the one you sent in the chat.
No, he's right. There was another one.
There's another one. I got it. So Steve really likes this particular question. I'm going to pull it up.
I like weird.
This is an existential one, and we'll end on this one.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
From Mr. Kaplan, Mr._Kaplan with a 1. To many, sports are regarded as trivial on a societal level. Have you guys faced this ideology in your careers? how would you debate it?
Yeah, I've seen that before. People are really arrogant about it, and I just feel bad for them. Like, I can't imagine sports not being part of my life, and I just feel bad. Like, don't you have a hobby? Why don't you like things? Like, okay, if sports are trivial and silly, what do you like? What's your thing?
I like things that matter, Steve, that really matter.
Yeah.
Like TV shows.
Like Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, I don't. It's entertainment. What's wrong with you?
I think here's my answer to that is this. I think that have we faced that ideology in our careers? Yes, absolutely. And I don't debate it.
Yes, of course it's trivial.
I don't debate it because you're never going to win. You're never going to win that argument. It is trivial. But what I look at when I look at my life and how I've decided to live my life and how I've decided my career is going to go is there are people that are serious people. There are people that you see them in hockey, actually. You see them in politics more. If I wanted to go the serious route, I could have gone the serious route. Even in media, I could have been serious. But I chose to be on the lighter, happier side because I knew it made me lighter and happier, and that's who I was. I'm a happier kind of guy anyway.
Adam is very much an optimist.
Yeah, so it wouldn't sit well with me to be negative all the time. And I find a lot of people who are like that are cynical. So for me, I made the decision that trivial was okay because trivial was an escape. And I wanted to be a part of that escape. And that escape, reading a book, watching a hockey game, listening to a podcast, listening to your favorite album, all of those things are the trivial escapes that actually get us through the hard shit.
Yeah.
And I wanted to create something or many things that could be someone's escape.
And when we pick our spots and aren't an escape, I would like people to realize that it's very rare that we do that. And maybe if it's invading your escape, maybe it might be a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But of course it's trivial. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. In the grand scheme of things.
I'll tell you
what. I like it. There's a reason I like it.
I'll tell you what's not trivial.
A lot of people like it. What if there's something? Literally billions. There aren't millions of people who like sports. Billions of people like sports. Why do billions of people like it? You might be missing something. Maybe it's not them. Maybe you're missing something.
Well, they're not part of the system, man.
I'm not attacking the person who.
No. I don't think he's somebody that doesn't like sports. I think we're talking to an all sports liking crowd. I don't think anyone's listening to the show going, God damn it, I hate sports. Yeah. I'm gonna hate myself for 2 hours and listen to three guys talk about sports.
Yeah, I'm not gonna interview or interrupt some scientist making some point about what needs to be done to enhance this sort of treatment to be like, hey, I have some thoughts about the Leafs' second power play unit.
But if that scientist wants an escape and he likes hockey, I hope he listens to this show.
Yeah.
And that's why it's not like, that's why I could never have an ego about this sort of stuff, because it's like, it isn't important. You know, what a surgeon does is important. What an astrologist does, or, you know, guys that are researching climate change and that's important.
One thing I need to drop, well, I think I'm much better at it, but I used to be like, if you watch Entertainment Tonight, what the fuck's wrong with you?
And then his friend became an entertainment reporter.
Well, I also used to be, I think back to some of the nasty things I've said, like when I was just frustrated. And I don't know. Again,
this
is the Catholic guilt thing. Like I just feel bad about it. Like times, this will come out in the book quite a bit, is just times where I was young and frustrated and out of work, and I took it out on people who had nothing to do with any of my problems. You know, and sometimes I was people who watch Kim Kardashian. Fuck you. I still think she's a ridiculous human being, but I mean, I don't know. Is it any more ridiculous than knowing when? Is it any more ridiculous knowing Aki Berg and Chad Kilger were drafted back to back?
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
What?
I'll tell you what isn't trivial about what happens with hockey. When I look at what the game of hockey gave me, the game of hockey gave me 12 amazing years in junior leagues. like just enjoying times. I met friends. I learned a game. I learned hand-eye coordination and balance, and how to skate and skills, and also life skills. How to deal with teammates that are sometimes upsetting. I had a teammate punch me in the face on the ice once because I tried to break up a fight, and he had really bad anger issues because he had a tough home life.
It sounds like you deserved it.
And he came back the next game and apologized. And like, it was like that crazy shit that sometimes happens at rinks. And then I look at what this game has given me as an adult, which is this show. What I don't take for granted and what is not trivial are the relationships I've built, not only with the two of you, but the people that listen to this show. And that I mean that seriously. We have. I think it's special. I think people, when someone reaches out and says, "Hey, what do you think of this?" or "I want to do this," or "I disagree with you on this point," it means that they've made a connection enough to say, "Hey, I care enough to debate you on this subject." That means something to me, and I don't take that for granted.
My grade 2 teacher still sticks out as one of the best I've ever had. He fostered a lifelong passion for things like I'm still really interested in space, and he got me into science for like the rest of my academic career. Computers, he got me started on that, and I also really credit him with my love of hockey. Because it's not like it was something that my parents like shoved onto me. I was a fan of the Leafs before grade 2, but he really fostered it in me because he used hockey as a teaching tool in the classroom. And I asked him about it recently because I wanted to talk to him for the book, and I said, did you intentionally use it as a tool? He's like, "Oh yeah, you got to get the attention of 8-year-old boys somehow," and he was right. And as a result, St. Brendan's Catholic School also had, I think. I feel like the boys hockey team usually did pretty well, but the girls team, whatever, before grade 8,
it's a girls team.
I feel like they won a bunch of championships as well. Mm-hmm. We were a really good school. Now, why is that? They used it as a tool. I think.
There you go.
I think it was largely due to one teacher in particular, Mr. Cody.
Well, Stephen, I hope you have a great time in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Please say hi to all our listeners out there.
We have very little planned.
And good.
We'll probably do one meetup because, I don't know.
Good.
The rest of the time, we're probably going to be drunk.
Awesome.
We'll probably be drunk there too.
And we will see you with a new episode in 2 weeks. And then later on in the summer, we're going to have some best ofs, but we're going to do some actual interviews and stuff in between then. So we're just working on guests, and you'll look out for our tweets when we confirm them.
And we also need to do our little plan fun things for the podcast summit.
Yes.
So we'll be back on the 18th?
Yes, sir.
July 18th.
For the rest of the summer, so. Tuesday is a podcast day.
Unless we change it.
We love you guys. See you in a couple weeks.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.